My fellow citizens, as 2025 closes, I am proud to report that our commitment to restoring peace is yielding real results. The data shows a clear and encouraging trend towards a safer Trinidad and Tobago. This year, we have seen a historic 42% decrease in murders, dropping from 625 to 361. Woundings and shootings fell from 746 to 548, while robberies decreased by over 500 incidents. Furthermore, burglaries and break-ins are down by 20%. Our focus on road safety has always saved lives, with fatal accidents dropping from 115 to 92. Behind every number is a life protected. But we are not complacent. One life lost is still too many. As we enter 2026, we do so with momentum, investing in new technology and community programs to keep our borders and streets safer. On behalf of the government, I wish you a safe and peaceful New Year. God bless you, and God bless our nation.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Yellow Scope program on UNC USA. I have with me here our lead technical analyst, Mr. Suman Singh. As usual, our other friends will join us on the program later on. So, Mr. Singh, we have seen 11 murders within 24 hours in our country. And you have heard the message of the Minister of Homeland Security, and I just wanted to get your opinion on the situation.
All right, Gary. Well, good night, and good night to all our listeners. Wishing you all the best for 2026. Yes, Gary, I heard the data and the statistics from the Minister of National Security. And, while that is very, very encouraging, is the spate over the past day or so. So one wonders if this is a one-time shot. Somebody or some person wanted to round off the new year in grand style. But with all that said and done, 42% reduction this year when compared to last year, that translates itself into 254 persons less have died via homicides in 2025. That is a very extraordinary achievement, my friend, because 254 people less. Can you imagine that? That's an astounding figure. And that was one of the campaign promises which were made to tackle crime head on. And I must say I'm very, very impressed with the current government in the ability to arrest the crime situation. And what gets me no one, you don't see no big headline in the newspaper, in the press, the media, social media, and so on. Like that is a non-achievement, whereas in fact it's something to be celebrated upon. And apparently I'm assuming that a lot of people ain't too concerned with the statistics. So 42%, maybe some people may think that's 42 persons, but it's always nice when the ministers and those in authority translate what 42% means, so that the layman outside, what it means is 254 persons less were murdered this year, in 2025 when compared to 2024. That's what is 42%, 254 persons. So, as I said, that's an astounding achievement. I think the UNC have delivered in the area of crime for the nation. And I think that should really be highlighted to the extent where everybody should be able to feel a lot more secure, safe, and looking forward to an even greater reduction this year. So that will be an icing on the cake. Now, there could have been several contributory factors, and this is why data, and I keep on stressing data is very, very crucial in this analysis. Can we, or can the data tell us that how many of these crimes or homicides are drug related? And if there's a high percentage of drug related crimes, then we can attribute that to the activities of the Southern Command in assistance with the narco-terrorism trade. So in addition to the state of emergency, better patrolling of the borders and what have you. So it has to be a combination of things that has led to this decrease in numbers. So I am happy about it. I'm very, very excited for going into the new year once we can team up with the US in such a way that we can even bring down the 2026 murder rate to even greater levels. So I'm just this one deliverable. It hits the spot and is a major achievement for the UNC, and as part of their campaign promises, they have delivered, well above par. So, Gary, this is what I'm saying. It's very, very encouraging. 254 murders less. On the second aspect, on a second deliverable, which was part of the UNC campaign team, it was the distribution and the acquisition of laptops for the school children. That has also been achieved. So it's happening. We can see certain transformation taking place now, as far as achievements and deliverables as promised. The third deliverable was the back pay recently of public servants, the 10% back pay. And again, look for 10 years, these things were outstanding. Could you imagine 10 years they received nothing, public servants received nothing. No agreements of, no back pay, whatever. All of a sudden, within the past 8 months or so, the UNC have made massive strides in trying to alleviate the hardships of all the working class. So we're seeing that this government is working, and they are delivering on the promises to the people. First was crime, then in the education field, the settlement of wage negotiations and the back pay, and among other things as well. That other things are happening. Let's not fool ourselves that there's only three major things they have done. In the area of healthcare, you see the opening up of the Children's Hospital. That was another campaign promise which they delivered on. And then we saw that the restructuring of the CDAP and all the drugs, the new formulary coming into being, especially for chronic diseases, a review of the older medication was done, and new medication has been brought in to keep in line with modern sicknesses and treatment and what have you. So that's another area which things are happening on, and very silently and very quietly, but it's happening. So those are four major things I can think of at the top of my head, in addition to things like the FUL, the home invasion bill, and what have you. So when I think over this year, 2026, we should see a lot more improvements in these areas of healthcare, education, security, and what have you.
Hold for a second here. Let me play this video. This is another accomplishment in the healthcare sector. So let's see what this is.
We had a meeting in July 2025, and that one meeting, we said, Dr. Bodo, your team, let's meet with the Registrar General's team. We met, and after that one meeting, just one meeting, we are here today standing very proud on New Year's Day, launching this bedside registration for births at the SWRHA. I think that deserves congratulations. It just took us one meeting. And what that shows is that you now have a government with progressive ministers, with progressive employees, and a public service that is re-energized in order to deliver to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm very proud to say that as the Minister of Land and Legal Affairs, on the first day of the year, I can join my colleague, Dr. Bodo and Dr. Sicharan, to hit the ground running in order to continue delivering for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
I saw that, Gary, and I was so very impressed today in the news. I saw that, and that astounded me because we have always had that problem of registering births and deaths. In fact, it's the same system can also do the deaths as well. I don't know if you know that normally when somebody dies, is that in the hospital or at home and so on, normally you have a DMO or a registrar or someone in charge of the health department at the governmental level visit the home and pronounce the person dead. So in the same way that these births can be recorded and alleviate so much time on the parents and so on. In the case of deaths, the similar process needs to be done, and I'm very thankful that it has started with births, and also we can do the same thing with the deaths as well. So it becomes a streamlined process, very easy on the various families and so on. So that's an excellent start as well. It was not part of the campaign promise, but the use of technology always intrigues me.
Well, the promise of upgrading the country is part of the campaign promise, and everything may not be spelled out in the campaign, but our objective remains to upgrade the quality of life for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The service delivery has been the objective, and it's something that I take personally. So definitely, we will see a lot more happening that was not spelled out in the campaign, but definitely we're going to see some drastic improvement going forward.
Yes, quite correct. And once these things can be measured, then it will make greater sense to let the population know exactly what has been going on. I don't know if you know, but in Tobago, when somebody dies, sometimes it took months to get a death certificate. You know that they have to leave Tobago to come to Trinidad, because
which I find to be totally ridiculous,
totally ridiculous,
totally unacceptable. I mean, but this is the PNM structure, to keep you struggling to get the simplest things done, so you can be behind and keep certain people ahead of you. And that is the objective. And they don't seem to understand that when they fall for all the foolishness and propaganda and race politics, and not realizing that you have a prime minister that has your best interests at heart, and but you could see them focusing on trying to turn everything upside down that the prime minister has in her intentions to do for the country. I mean, all the good things that she have done, not taken into consideration. They're focusing on this pure foolishness and propaganda. But here we go again. We've seen another upgrade where the government is upgrading the level of service delivery and convenience to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Go ahead, Mr. Singh.
Yeah, so that's an excellent observation. But I can tell you from Tobago, having worked there and having supplied staff to that department, the Registrar General Department in Tobago, was recently closed for about a number of years. It has been closed down, so people are having to bury their loved ones and so on, have to make several trips to Trinidad to get the death certificate. Whereas in an instant, now that if the system is up and running, you can do the births and deaths at will, at will basically, and try to make it easy for the people rather than having to undergo the stresses, especially in the case of deaths, go to and from one island to the next just to get the death certificate. So
And also that sea bridge problem, we're going to solve that. By the hook and the crook, we're going to solve that problem. And all the transportation problem to and fro from Tobago. And Tobago has to get a certain amount of independence where they get shipment going directly to Tobago instead of having to come to Trinidad. This is something I want to see. The direct flights, the direct shipment, and stop that unnecessary, things happening.
and these are simple things that could have been done along the past, but knowing the pain and wisdom whose motto is to suffer people. That's what it is.
Yeah, but they're focusing, they're trying to win an election with condemning the fact that we have a radar there. It's like a radar is going to explode Tobago or cause somebody to shoot down Tobago. Where this radar has been put there to improve the level of security for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But they are focused on that. Not that the fact that this government is trying to improve the level of service delivery and quality of life for you.
Right, you're quite right, and I understand that pretty soon there's the next phase of the airport is going to be opened as well, the airport in Tobago. So that's very encouraging for the tourism industry as well. In the area of transportation, what has happened is
As you said that, I'm hoping that you get a chance to meet with the Minister of Transportation there in reference to that runway thing that we had discussed before, that we get that sorted out.
Yes, I hope so. But what I'm saying is that the sea bridge as well is on the sufferings because only one of the fast ferries is working. Both were procured by, under the previous PNM regime, and Dr. Rowley and Stuart Young, they went down to Australia and bought these two
And two vessels, I think, that was not working properly, wasn't suitable for that sort of activity, So I think they were river boats. They were not really.
No. These are catamaran. These were built, and they were used by the U.S. Army in this type of boats. Sorry, the previous one, the Tobago Express, and the one that was sold off. They were very suitable for the job, in that they were catamarans suited for our waters.
And weren't there one that was sort of been a river boat or something?
Yeah, that was the Galting. That was purchased from Venezuela. That was a river boat. I happened to try that. Sail on that was an experience. It was a very chilling experience for me. But not with the introduction of the catamarans in 2004, as part of that team that negotiated, because I was the director of tourism and I wanted, a lot of Trinis to come over and enjoy the ride. A nice ride with a fast ferry, which will take 3 hours rather than the regular 8 hours in the riverboat, as you say. There was a panorama as well. One boat was called the Panorama. One was the Gelting. And the Panorama was sold off to a company in Greece who have converted it into a nice luxury cruise boats down the river. Yeah, so it's
But again, wasn't these used boats that they had sourced?
well, you see, does anyone know anything about the people who went to procure these two fast ferries? They're called fast ferries. The Prime Minister and Stilton won. Since when they are analysts or technical persons who knows about?
Yeah, apparently I heard they didn't take anybody who was skilled
No,
in this
no,
knowledge,
no. Yeah. And the one that,
except Dr. Rolly Gary Sobers, his bright boy.
yeah, and any analyst
Minister of everything, minister who
yeah,
knows everything.
and knows nothing really. Yeah. So you see, the procurement legislation was all breached. No due diligence was done. It just two guys go on and see, this is boat, yeah, it's for sale, right? Let's buy it. Who knows how much money the monies they paid for it? These things were not approved before. They just went, saw something and procured it just off the top. Where it was the approval. Now they do this under what's called, how they get around this problem was they do it under what's called a government-to-government contract. But you still have to account for the funds because it's people's money you're talking about. So again, it shows up the high-handed nature of these P&M officials when they were in office, that they procure things out of the procurement legislation approval processes and so on. And nobody held them to account for that.
Well, I understand that they also tried to ambush you from what is that, the regulator for the procurements?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Same thing like the Auditor General.
Yep. So you see, a lot of these foolishness was happening under the regime, and no one in the press, no one in the Thursday press briefings, none one of these reporters followed up sensible questioning to ask the Prime Minister at that time, about these misgivings. So you see, there was one law for them and one law for the other people, including the UNC. So I really wish that all money is spent, all new items procured, they go through the due diligence process as required in our accounting system. And that will, be something that should be followed, whoever is in government, and do not let anyone get away, not because they are the PM or senior government official mean that you could take public money and spend it as you wish. That's not in our accounting rules at all. And that is breaking all public procurement processes. So somewhere along the line, these persons have to be investigated, I think, to bring some semblance of reality to the situation, because we can't allow anybody, not because of the PM, to go and buy something for the country, having done no analysis of it. And now one of the boats are down. It's been down. So these are relatively new boats. It has not been here more than 5 years now. And here is that one is down. Another one, which was the transport boat to carry cargo between Tobago and Trinidad and vice versa, that has been sold off, pulled out the sea bridge on the 12th of this month. So we are 2 boats short. We are 2 boats short. And the tourist season, high-end tourist season, had just kicked in, and 2 of the 3 boats transporting stuff are down and out. So whoever is doing the planning on the sea bridge needs some serious questions to answer. So that is what the situation, as you mentioned, the deliverables with the healthcare and so on, that is moving apace. And you know, Gary, one thing that astounds me all along is that these things are not highlighted, my friend. Not these things, and you see it a little corner page in the second or third page in the newspaper, and that's it. You know, before, you know, as I say, when under the PNM, if they open a standpipe, they make the front page of the newspaper. Or building a bus shed, turning the sod to build a bus shed. And so this is big news for them. And here's it, real achievements, real deliverables, real campaign promises are being delivered on time for the benefit of the people, and little on next to no coverage of it.
I want to welcome Nadira and all those who are listening, and thank you for joining us. Go ahead, Mr. Singh.
Yes, so I say the 2026 to me looks very bright and promising. We can expect a lot more services, a lot more deliverables, and a lot more benefits to accrue to the people, be it in healthcare, be it in national security, be it in education, be it in personal services, as been mentioned in the births of, you know, newborns and what have you. So it tells me once this momentum can be kept up, we can definitely look forward to a better and brighter 2026. Yeah.
Definitely, you know, it is so much feeling of a comfort that Kamala Persad is the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and you know, it's such an assurance and security that knowing the fact that we're in good hands moving forward. You know, than that arrogant man that was there who had no respect and who didn't care who dead. You know, so definitely, you know, I am very happy to see, and I'm very comfortable to know that who is the Prime Minister, who is the captain of the ship, and I know things will eventually sort out.
Yes. In addition, Gary, you know, I would like to see that we tackle head-on the FUL process. To, you know, it should be clearly identified and spelled out, and move with some serious pace to arrest the situation in, you know, or to complement, I should say, the home invasion bill. So that working in tandem with the FUL and having citizens being armed to protect themselves, will definitely complement under the crime initiative. And I would like to imagine that this might even further reduce the crime rate for 2026. Now, there's a process to be established for the FUL. And we have discussed this before. But as the momentum, there's 42% reduction in crime. This momentum is very encouraging. As I said, 254 persons less have been murdered this year. And that is a kind of momentum you want to see even further down the road.
Well, you know, I have to agree with the Minister of Homeland Security. One is too many.
One is too
And
many.
I
Exactly.
always say, and I always like to reiterate that we need to apply every deterrent factor, every deterrent resource that you can apply to prevent a situation from happening. That is what we need to do.
Yes. Correct. So this FUL now will complement the home invasion process, and along with the night courts and what have you, the the speedy the speedy process of treating with persons caught in these situations,
Yeah, but
suspected from.
I am more interested now than seeing the speedy process of the police, the TTPS response towards when they are called upon and a complaint is made. I got a call yesterday, from an individual saying that they were complaining to the police station about an individual selling drugs, and the police station is refusing to do anything.
Yeah, yeah. So that tells you, remember, this week, I
So
think
how does that build the confidence in citizens?
that's the demoralizing
They
aspect.
want to conduct themselves like the PNM is still in power, but I got news for them. Kamala Prasad Bisesa is here as Prime Minister, and watch out.
Yes, correct. And I said an informal survey was done. We found that just about 26% of the officers are rogue officers at different levels in the police service. Not only new guys, some in the middle, upper, upper management as well. They are just as guilty. Where is the
Well, let me tell you
supervision?
something. The way I see it, and I've said it before, and I will say it again. The reason why we are where we are is because of people in upper management failed to do what they were supposed to do.
Correct. Who is supervising? Where is the supervision? So, what happened? Is it just bandied as a crime that someone does, and if someone is caught, is anybody investigated to find out who is it, why it was done, any action on that person or persons? That person, is he on pay, no pay? What is it? What's criteria for when these things happen with these so-called rogue cops? Is there pension withheld? Is there gratuity withheld? Nothing of the sort. And this is where I like to see.
Nobody holds them accountable. They were never held accountable for their actions, or some just transferred. And it took a
So,
hell of a lot of complaining from citizens to get some kind of course of action. And that is not only the TTPS, in every aspect of the country. You make a complaint, is like getting the situation resolved is the most difficult thing to get.
yes, yes.
And they
And
continue to do that because they can get away with it.
correct. No one is held accountable. And this is its point. No one is held accountable for these offenses. So that these rogue officers have a free hand
Yeah, I am not going to let this go. I need the TTPS to set their house in order before they come talk to us. Set your house in order.
because, they complain about lack of, I should say, support from the community. But how can they get support from the
Well, who
community?
betrayed the community?
We are
Was
the ones,
was your organization the country depend on most? If we can't trust the police, all falls down. The police has to be the most trusted agency in our country.
and show that. Let the people see that they are the trusted by have senior officers, do their investigation and do the damn job in eliminating or catching or putting some systems in place to catch the rogue cops. You see, so that's the reason why they don't want the body cams. They don't. They don't want all the various technology instituted.
I must say Gary Griffith was doing an excellent job there. That he was intercepted by a prime minister for political reason.
Mhm.
I think Gary Griffith obstructed the flow, the cash flow of some people's business in the way he conducted himself as the police commissioner, and they couldn't
Yes.
handle that. They wanted to utilize Gary Griffith against the UNC, and when they did not succeed on that, they tried to ambush him because that was what made them mad. Dr. Rowley didn't care about nothing else. They didn't get to use Gary Griffith in the way they wanted to. So that is why
Well,
they mad with him.
not only Dr. Rorin, the entire PNM, it has always been like, look at the same data. When the PNM is in power, the crime is always at the highest level. So it's not a one matter, it's like a party's policy. The policy of the PNM party, not the individual so much, but the party itself.
Well, I say, far as I'm concerned, based on my observation, the PNM is more of an enemy than an opponent, and the UNC needs to take that very seriously into consideration. That that we must make it our business to keep the PNM out of government for the rest of our lifetime.
That's is my wish as well.
We can't put our guard down. We have to be very conscious of what we're doing.
The people need to be cognizant of that as well. If we're striving to make TNT a better place for all our children and grandchildren, elderly and what have you, then it's not only one segment of the population wishes that. We wish that for the entire country. Everyone should have access to education. Everyone should have excellent access to healthcare. Everyone should experience good security system. Everyone should enjoy water. Everyone should enjoy social services and what have you. So it's not to say that, oh, this is only for UNC or PNM or whatever. It should be for all, and the Prime Minister has made this quite clear. She is government.
But that's the mentality PNM created, They created a structure, this is PNM country, and PNM got the preference, whether it's unauthorized scholarship to go overseas to study, unauthorized funding to do what you need from the government, because the government not giving accountability. They could allocate money to you, to whoever they want, their friends, family, and party supporters, right? While they bypass other citizens. I mean, you couldn't get an HDC house. You're waiting for 20 years. They could throw your application away for an HGC. Back in the day was NHA loans.
So these things have become what's called institutionalized, that you don't expect anything as a UNC supporter. If they know
our institution collapsed just because they appointed people based on race, party, and an association, and not people qualified and doing a better job. They wasn't monitored. They wasn't supervised. They wasn't held accountable for what they were doing. That's why the whole thing collapsed. And it's not broken. It's totally rotten and corrupt.
Totally rotten and corrupt is right, and the press has a major role to play in this regard, and they did not do their job as a press. Sorry to say that, but this press did not do a job which
the press is supported and funded by and owned by who support the government there. And they did everything to maintain that because they're benefiting. You see, people are seeking their own interests and not the national interest. It's me, myself, and I. As long as I get what I want, I don't care. Long as I get what I want, this is what I'm going to support.
This is also what I'm going to print things in favor of the then ruling party there. Because I see in the press right now, the opposition leader is asking the Honorable Prime Minister to explain all her decisions, why she wants the PM to sit down and talk with the maxi taxi operators on the bus route.
I want Penny to explain a lot of stuff to us, but I will call it.
Well, for the past 10 years, I think she was one of the ones who definitely had PIP, who couldn't speak at all.
Nadira, I think COVID affected their brains, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. So all of a sudden they found their voices, man. I want you to explain this. Prime Minister, explain this to the people. Prime Minister, explain that to the people. Prime Minister, explain what are you going to do, for the single mothers and what have you. All of a sudden they need explanation for for everything. When they were there, no one heard anything about anything. They just did what they want, and that was the end of story. Who they're dead, according to what the PM said at that time. So don't try to be, saying now and want explanations for everything. You should, you should explain and tell the
Mr.
country
Singh,
how come
after what
that
I personally experienced with this government, they tell people in the way that they lock up them out the country, and it was all how hard I had to fight for them to try to reason with a government who's supposed to be care and concern and put things in place for your people. This government was about them themselves. They had no clue what they were supposed to do.
man, that COVID story is another whole new ball game, which I think should be investigated. There's little or no data on everything there, Gary. We don't know how many people actually died from COVID per se.
They
Because
cover up
every,
everything. They cover up
every
everything, and they reported COVID deaths to get money from foreign countries. And
that's
they're
right.
yet to show us what they did. And Imbert had the audacity to tell our government to ask our government any question. When this man refused, he can't even give account for how he spent the money. All right, he cannot give account for our treasury, and I don't know why he's still walking around free. We have to move with haste to prosecute this man, him, and
This
all the clowns that was in there.
correct. That is the other clowns who were there who spent people's money and cannot account for it. They were
I
given
tell you
their
guys, Penny run down for a seat from Trinidad, left everybody here. She even left the person who was staying with her.
so that is their track record, and that is what they should be telling the public, rather than asking the PM to
Yeah, I was
sit
hoping
down.
I could get Penny to say something to the government, being that she was the official representative of our country here at the UN.
Right.
I was hoping because I mean, the embassies, the consulate was dumbfounded. They didn't know what to do.
Can you reiterate to the public what that was about,
I
Gary?
got more done. I'm not boasting. I got more done than them because they couldn't get nothing done. They didn't want to help nobody. They shut the doors in a situation where people was in distress that they created the distress. People lose money for their business. I mean, they were in distress to support their families overseas. I mean, there's so much. I have a long list of stories I would tell without calling names. They created major distress. They caused people to lose their lives. They caused people to lose their business. People couldn't pay their rent. We had to borrow money, lend money to people. We gave money to people that we can't get back.
Because of stupidity of the PNM government at that time, not willing to come to
Arrogance, arrogance. Everything had to go through Stuart Young. Not even the most honest Indian in the country could have got anything done because Stuart Young had all he say. All he said, not one minister back.
and not to mention the real hardship that citizens encountered during that COVID period. That is really, really a nightmarish situation. It's only when you're in a situation like that, then and you feel when you don't have money in a foreign country, no place to stay, food
How
to eat
can you
there.
leave a person a year and a half outside the country where they have money for 2 weeks? First of all, you're not giving them enough money to go to support themselves for the 2 weeks because they're getting $200 US. Because all the US is for from the time they come into government, they lock up the US for their friends and associates. Welcome, Ken.
Hey, welcome, Gary. Good night so
And I,
much.
yes, I,
And Happy New Year again.
nice, same to you, brother. Yes,
Yeah, Gary, go ahead. I'm hearing something about the US currency and stuff there.
No, we were just talking about in general this government and the lack of consideration for people. So I brought up the fact, that they want to question our government, they want to question our prime minister. Penny wants to ask our prime minister to explain, but Penny needs to explain why she run out of New York, run down for a seat, and didn't have nobody here. Why didn't she relay the fact how many people will lock out the country and what their situation was. Then did Penny really know? How come I know more about what was happening to our people than Penny? How come I could have done more than our consulate general and our people and the ambassador in Washington and Miami and in the UK and Jamaica? How come I got more done and more aware of what was happening to the people?
Yeah, well, Gary, also we were stuck in Florida here. I mean, I couldn't return for about almost 2 years or something.
Well,
Yeah.
I was stuck in Trinidad. My son and I, he was in university, and he missed almost 2 years of classes. He couldn't go back. There were no
But again,
flights.
Suman, it all comes down to the competence, right? If you have that level of competence to deliver, like last year, we took the government, right? And 2024, the year before that, prior to that, Trinidad and Tobago experienced the highest number of homicides in the history of the country. We've never seen those type of numbers. Prior to that, in 2022, 605 again. Historic numbers, right? And in 2025, when the UNC took government to January 31st, December 31st,
December, yeah.
there was a 42% reduction from the highest to the fastest drop, the fastest historic drop ever experienced, right? Again, it shows the government working for the people of Trinidad and Tobago and delivering not just regular, delivery, promise, whatever. This is above and beyond. This is historic, right?
And this
42%.
translates into 254 murders less. 254 murders less in 1 year.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that delivery of a month?
And that is not old talk. That is facts. That's data. That's in your face data for the PNM to look at and cry, because they left the country in a state of lawlessness for 10 years, right? People scared to come out of their homes, home invasions galore, robberies, extortions, right? Missing persons, 100 plus missing persons unaccounted for. Bodies littered all over the place. I mean, people hunting in the bush and discovering bodies, right? So that is what the PNM left the country in a state of chaos and lawlessness. So it's a big, big, big achievement there.
Yes.
I mean, a historic achievement. That's a historic drop in crime.
Right, correct. And Gary, we should ask Penny, to ask the Prime Minister to explain how come we had such a massive drop in homicides. That is what she should be asking the PM, to explain why. Instead of she is telling the PM that she needs to sit down and talk to the maxi taxi drivers.
So, man, I don't think we should waste time talking to Penny, because she's not acting like a leader. You have a spokesperson there, the former Prime Minister who's retired now. He has to come out of retirement and to act as the spokesperson there. So Penny is like like a mouse. She can't speak.
Basically,
right?
like a pen.
You don't have legs to stand on. And furthermore, any one of them who wants to talk about it, we should question them, right? Anyone, because they were responsible for the lawlessness, right? They let the country fall into a state of free fall. Talking about the U.S. Foreign currency, I've heard stories where people have to go and literally beg for $200, from the bank, and they're traveling to go on vacation to the U.S. I mean, $200 here, you really can't buy
you still a day? Maybe a day?
Yeah, not even a day. You go to a restaurant, it's about $100. In a regular
taxi cab to where you're going. That taxi cab when you reach, and taxi cab when you're coming back, so you have no money to spend. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So
this is what we were handed off from the last government, right? A country that was crippled, beaten down, broken, right? With lawlessness and criminals running loose there, and they did nothing. You couldn't. I mean, you couldn't have gotten a worse Minister of National Security than Fitzgerald Hines, and this next guy with the coal pot, right? I mean, these are a bunch of clowns. Sorry to use that word, but I can't find one word to describe these guys.
No,
And you
that's
know
it.
what, Suman? You know
Uh,
why I mention that? Because they have the record, right? They have the record under their names. The historic
mhm.
624 homicides in 2024. Right? Whoever was the Minister of National Security, you have to live with that record. Whoever was the Minister of National Security 2022 with 605, you have to live with that record. Right? And again, it shows the failure. And this is why the data is very important. The data set is very important to compare the success. And I
Uh,
saw our
yeah.
PRO, Dr. Kirk Megu, he posted something there. I didn't get to really look at it, but he's comparing the UNC PNM data, right? And that is the type of stuff that we need to do, to show John public, hey, this is performance. This is not old talk here, like the rest of guys.
I mentioned the same thing a while ago, Ken, before I joined, but I wanted to go a little bit further as well. I wanted to see the data, though out of those 254 lives that were saved on the UNC. Remember, that is the amount of persons less who were murdered in 2025.
Correct.
How much
Correct.
of that data is drug related? So, if you can identify, once you can get that specific data, then we can say, hey, you know what? The SOE has contributed to that, but more so the U.S. Southern Command with their operations in the narco trade. They would have contributed a lot too to
Well,
ensure that the numbers.
apparently nothing cannot move.
Exactly. So you see, well, nothing cannot move because our borders are secured now. They can see everything of what's happening in the borders. This cross-border trade that was happening all the time and festered under the PNM, who promoted these things by not having any of these Coast Guard vessels working. But now the Southern Command can monitor all the activities there. So here is if you can get that specific data to show the amount of drug-related crimes out of that 254 that has been saved, then we can say with a high level of probability that U.S. through its intervention in the Southern Caribbean has contributed to our saving these amount of people, these 254 people. So the causation aspect has to be given, and that is why data collection is so critical for all our planning going forward. Yeah,
Definitely. We need to continue to collect that data, right? We need to also scrub the data. We just can't have raw data there and trying to figure it out. It has to be analyzed. And
that's right.
we have to break it down in terms of serious crimes, armed robberies, robbery involving firearms, what is domestic, and so
The
forth, right?
months of the
And
year, and so certain time, like let's
yeah,
say Christmas is coming, these criminals want money for the Christmas. The carnival time is
yeah,
coming,
yeah,
they need money for the carnival. All these
yeah,
festive seasons, look at these, expect serious activities to be happening
yeah.
a month or two before carnival, the major fits, and so on. They need money to buy these
And
expensive
And
speakers and so
I
on to go
expect
to.
the level of home invasion and robbery to increase because they can't move their
Exactly.
drugs.
No, I'm saying that I said that last week on the program. Remember, I am expecting home invasions to increase, and that is why this is my position. I said the legislation is weak unless we include the accompanying elements that has to go with it. Example, the FUL has to go with it. The night courts, the severe penalty. Don't because you have these cases, accruing and adding up to the 16,000 plus cases. No. Let special courts will deal with these night courts and weekend courts and so on. And no case should exceed more than a month with the harsh penalties and what have you. Because you want to bring this thing down. And the other accompanying elements that go along with the home invasion, yeah, which simply explains this old damn common law which we had a pack of crap by giving the people the authority now to empty the clip whenever you can find, someone in your home,
Well,
clears up the
Sumad,
misconception.
Sumad, we have to give them the clip. If they don't have the clip, how are they going to empty it, right?
That is the
And this is
point. That is
why,
the point I'm saying.
and
That
and
is
this is why.
exactly the point.
So this is my
Yeah.
next point here.
So that's the
So
next
this
step.
is
That's the next step we got to work on.
so Gary, I would want to ask the commissioner of police the question: in 2025, how many FULs did you approve, and how many do you intend to approve in 2026? And in
And
the end of 2026,
how many can you approve, considering the current structure of things? You
There's a
understand?
little
How many can you manage to approve according to the structure of things, the way things are? Are you able to really get all of the necessary done? Or do we need to change that structure? We need to hear
That's
his
what
voice on that.
you see, Gary, that's why I said the process has to be clearly explained to the people. Now, if you're saying that you have done 1,000 in 2025, but 1,000 of what? It's from my understanding, there's over 20,000 applicants.
We need to expand the level of the team that's available there to handle this thing. And I mean, we have all the corrupt officers who were there part of the system. When people had to pay a cash money to get because they, I mean, this didn't happen without their knowledge. They want to tell me that this happened without their knowledge. When a man had to come up with a $20,000 or $50,000 or $10,000, and some of them paid and still can't get it.
yeah.
You see, the
Even
commissioner
the former commissioner of police, Gary Griffith, addressed this. He said this was happening. He confirmed this was happening.
Yeah. So people have to pay. So basically, this is like a business for some of these COPs. When you think about it, if they have to pay, people have to go and pay and beg them for this thing, for pay $50,000 for an FUL. You think they're going to just issue this thing like they're sharing sweetie or something? They're not going to do it unless you pay your $50,000, and that is a problem, and that is what we have to address, right?
So the process
And
has to be streamlined, and I clearly identify how many applicants there are. That's one. How many are granted per month? Let's say 5% or 2% or 10%. What we don't know the figures. How much is expected to be granted this year going forward, and like that. Now we have 20,000 plus, but during this year there'll be a lot more added on to that figure as well. It could very well be 30,000 at the end by the time the end of this year comes. So you see, unless you level with the people and you identify the process, how someone is going to get it, what sort of time frame is involved, the period of training and the psychometric test and testing and what have you. If you cannot account to let the people know these things, then how the heck you will address this situation?
well, I think someone has to really ask him some serious questions. What was the amount of applications approved last year, right? 2025. And if you want to break that down into a quarterly basis, per quarter, how much did you achieve? Or a monthly basis,
Yeah.
right? And what do we have still pending? And what do you intend to do to move that in the shortest period of time so we can arm the citizens, so that now will complement the new stand your ground laws, so the people now has a fighting chance. Right?
Now we're talking.
And those are the questions. I'm not going to pamper him, Sumad, because you know what?
No.
When a commissioner started to make excuses like mosquitoes and stuff in his swamp there,
Yes,
and he couldn't
correct.
put his men out there to look at the drugs, $200-something million worth of drugs that's floating in his swamp there. And you telling me your men, you didn't deploy your men there because you were scared of a little mosquito?
And they found the constable out there doing whatever he does,
So we have to ask him these questions as with regards to the data, right? So we can collect that data.
Just imagine the U.S. military telling the president that they cannot enter a country and complete a mission because there's too much mosquito there.
Man, everyone will be court-martialed, you know that. everyone in that command will
Just
be
imagine
called.
being deployed from New York City, you live in, and you get deployed in Vietnam, right? And how much
You are
mosquito and different reptiles you were facing there.
snakes and all these dangerous. You have to
Yeah.
wade through water, rice fields with all
But
these.
you see, in
You
Trinidad,
know,
we could get away with those kind of excuses. Only in
yeah.
Trinidad. Anywhere
And
else, they will sack you and put you on the sidelines. Or tell you, here's
I
something.
know,
You
I
need.
know no one further prompted these questions to the commissioner. You know. He just
Yeah.
said that straight in, and that was it. That is like God. God gave that statement, bam. That's it. That's cool.
Under
That's
Gary
cool.
Griffith, we had a Marine division. And I think it was something I had recommend also. Was the Marine Police Division. That they were equipped with boats and stuff like that. So now, I think we need a air division of the police force because so that they can function with drones and whatever aircraft. Well, I don't know what the air guard is doing, and I don't know how the air guard is utilized. But the police needs an air division.
And the
You know,
Marine
Yeah.
as well.
Um, Suman and Gary, look, I would say it in plain, simple English, right? The commissioner of police, that statement he made with mosquitoes, that is pure bullshit. Because we have the hunters, search, and rescue team right in Trinidad there who are going into the swamp, who are going into the garbage, digging out, looking for bodies and clues, right? And they don't complain about mosquitoes. And they are doing that is all volunteered, right? As a service to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
So
So again,
next time we have a cache in the swamp, and so we should send the hunters associated to guard it for us in the
I
night.
think they'll
So
do a better job.
next next day we'll come with our spray, a citronella spray, and so on, and then fully oiled up. Then we could go in the daytime. That's what it's amounting to. You know, that's what the commissioner is saying inadvertently. That's what he's saying.
my grandfather used to mix petroleum and oil and rub it in his skin when he
That's
got
right.
to
All you do is that's it.
when he got to cut grass and plant rice. He used to do that.
Yeah, or you walk with your flambo, so no mosquitoes around.
Look, the army they spray DEET and all kind of mosquito repellents and stuff on their clothes, right?
Yeah,
And
but what I'm saying to you, with guys, listen. Before we had the part about entering the swamp, the surveillance can be done with drones.
correct. We could do that
Simple.
also, right?
So you see,
And then once we see something with the drone, then we go in there, we send in a unit, right?
Exactly. When we see
To check it
something,
out.
we organize our strategy to move forward and intercept. And I mean, you have the U.S. military sitting outside any waters. I'm sure they would have gladly assisted you with a lift from one of these choppers there.
so let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. Let me ask you a question. They said it was $271 million, right, of jobs. Anyone heard anything about it after? Was
Or as far
is
as
it?
if it was destroyed or where they have the drugs being held and stuff,
Yeah.
quarantine and
Does anyone know? Well, is it confiscated and held in police headquarters or wherever they store it,
Well,
maybe
or whether
obviously,
it's
drugs
burnt?
confiscated, and and previously the drugs is so after
Walk
confiscation, it
walk
used
out,
to be able
walk
to
out of the
walk out.
area.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm asking. When something is confiscated, is it stored? Is it evidence? Time for court evidence. They can't find the exhibit and all this nonsense. So you know what that is. Our rogue element starting to pilfer,
so
pilfer the drugs and push it out to the public. You know, so
so man,
this is
that's again where we need well vetted SOPs, right? For the
correct.
entire list of activities there, right? Who's
But
responsible?
SOP, but what I'm saying, yes, the SOP, but if you don't have the people to supervise those SOPs and are not functional in the way that we want them to, I mean, we have seen, I'm sure they have some written SOPs there, and definitely needs to upgraded, but how well is it being executed with the current people that is in the administration? I think we need to clean house.
So Gary, you see
You
what
know,
I said. I posted this around. You have to hit them where it hurts. And the only way it hurts is in the pocket. So by crimping their style, hey, you are a supervisor, you're in charge of these exhibits. If anything goes missing here, there is standard procedures and so on, but if anything goes missing, well, man, you lost your job, you lost your pension, you lose your gratuity, everything. See how quick these people shape up to do the correct thing. That time there's no, hey man, I want to, they're going to get some, no, there's no freeness, my man. Letting their friends going inside and taking over there and say, yeah, go ahead, man. They're not accountable to anybody. So when you hold them for the supervising this and any missing exhibits and so on, when it's under your watch, these things have been lost. Goodbye.
Yeah.
You have 20 years service, but
And
you get no gratuity or pensions when you leave it. That's it.
and that's a good point, Sumant. But also, we cannot afford to buy these or accept these kind of lame excuses like the camera wasn't working in the evidence room.
Correct.
Because
Mhm.
correct me if I'm wrong, last year we had an incident, and I read it in the newspaper, where they confiscated I think some marijuana or something, right? And in the evidence room, it went missing and it was replaced with some sort of bricks or something, right? You know, so now you talking about $271 million of drugs confiscated there, and you ask a good question: where's that drugs? Where's the
Where
trail?
is it?
Right? We haven't heard anything of it. Was it destroyed? Did somebody come and collect their drugs from the system and it's gone off its merry way? Right?
Correct. Another
Making everybody
has
look like a
been
fool, thinking it was a drug bust. This time
then
it's a very transparent way to bring in drugs. Let the police bust it, and the police are also the one
and
who's transporting the drugs. So here's not come and confiscate the drugs. When you bring it into the station, we will pick it up there. We put some stones and bricks and stuff, or some kind of other plant-like material that looks like marijuana, and we switch it out. And you guys could destroy that,
and
and we have a big news PR, for that, right?
these
So
things have
again,
two massive impacts. One, you know, is the drugs being resold to the community by people who pilfer it or who steal it, and wherever it's been stored, whoever police officers have access to it, is it being stolen from there and sold in the communities outside? So that's
Welcome,
one.
Dr. Maraj. Dr. Maraj in the house.
good
I
evening,
got
Dr. Maraj. How are you?
Hi, I'm coming in. Hello. Hi.
right.
Hi. Sorry,
Yeah,
I just about a minute. Yeah.
no
Back again.
problem. No problem. And
Happy New Year.
Happy
happy
New Year.
New
Happy New
Year.
Year.
But more importantly, guys, when the case is called, the case is normally thrown out because of lack of evidence. So you see, there are two major things that happens when you cannot account for the drugs. And here we have the guy that supervisor who in charge of that particular location, he's still on the job. The drugs are missing. It's out in the public. People have gotten rich out of it. And now when the case is called, you cannot find the drugs. So the case is thrown out. So the big guys, whoever imported the drugs, or whoever was the main man, the big fish, so to speak, he goes scot-free. So you see how these things, the ripple effects of all of this, is what is amounted to this crime level again. That's why I say you have to cut these pension gratuity right away. It hurts in their pocket. So now imagine you have 25 years service and you're waiting for another 5 years to retire, and your pensions and gratuity is cut. You have nothing to get. You lost your job. You will not take that chance so easily. It will be a deterrent. And this is what, because there's a number of things. First, we don't know where the 271 million drugs is, whether it's burned, stored somewhere. If it's stored somewhere and it's being pilfered, then people are getting rich out of it. And thirdly, when the case is called and you don't have the exhibit, then the case will get thrown out, so that nobody's held accountable for bringing in the drug. So there are
But
lots of negative impact about these things, and no one is following through. Yeah.
But Sumant, did they catch anyone with this drug bust?
No, as far as I know, well,
So
I reading it, I
the
didn't see.
case
I
closed there.
didn't.
There's no case, right? The only thing that we could talk about though is as far as the drugs. Where's the drugs, right? Did
So,
they is that drug still there somewhere in an evidence control area,
and
right?
are they searching for the people who they think or who through their evidence or through their contacts would have brought this thing in? Is the case still active?
Yeah.
We don't know. You don't know
I want
these
to
things.
welcome Peter in our listening audience there. Peter, welcome. Peter, if you have any questions, put it in the chat. We will put it on the screen and the guys can answer it too. Or Nadira or anybody else. Go ahead, gentlemen. Go ahead, Dr. Maharaj.
Oh, no, I'm listening. What you guys talking about crime again? I had enough of that. Go ahead. I think I hear you saying that which was my point the other night. You get the exhibit. Where is the prisoner? Remember my situation?
Yeah. I heard that.
You
Yeah.
get the exhibit, but where's the prisoner?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The exhibit is good, but I would prefer the prisoner, or I would like both, really.
Right. And when you find the prisoner and the exhibit is not there, the case gets thrown out.
But look
That's
at
the
this,
other
Dr.
thing.
Maharaj. Dr. Maharaj, Ken, Suman was here earlier, but we have 11 deaths in the country within 24 hours, right? We also had
Okay.
an exorbitant amount of fireworks that took place after the government had passed the legislation, put in regulations and stipulations so how the fireworks can be carried out, right? And they seem to defy what the government and the prime minister said, and they went ahead and created the biggest blast ever in the country with fireworks, causing major distress in the country. So now we see this happening here. Take a look at your screen, and here is one situation. Okay, this is another one.
Well, what was the figure last year? Last 2024?
I
We
don't
don't
have
know.
it right now. I'll have to pull it
No,
up. We
no,
can do it
no, no.
another
The
night.
people
But
who reported this should have also reported that. And go back 2-3 years. What kind of reporting this is? That you just tell us what happened in 1 and 24. So what does
but
that tell
anyway,
us?
the point I'm making here is that we can't say we fed up discussing crime because we have an ongoing situation.
Yeah.
We have to remain fully engaged with it.
Mhm.
Dr.
No,
Maharaj, I think
I don't mean that you shouldn't talk about it. What I mean is really, it looks like there's something that is missing and we don't know what it is.
yeah. Dr.
There's
Maharaj,
a lot of things missing,
the
but there's a
Guardian
lot of things.
newspaper, January 1st reported 366 homicides for 2025.
Right.
And when we crunch those numbers with the previous year, it came down to about
254, say less.
about 41 point something percent, and it just rounded up to 42%.
Okay, just figure, right?
And that translates into 254 persons less.
Yeah.
Right.
Give or take. If you look at 624 minus the 366, we're looking at about 258.
Right. So
But the 5 yesterday and so on, I don't know if that is included.
We don't know if that came in after the ball drop in Times Square. So that might be moving into the new year, 2026.
no, that's for 2026. But what I'm asking is that it'd be nice for you to report what happened last year, because around these holidays, we usually have a high amount of murders and larceny and violence and passion and family disturbances and all of it. This happens.
Yes.
So telling us it's had 11 and 5 of them road deaths. We always have road deaths around holiday time. When there's a holiday time, if people go to the beach, they go here, they drink a little more, they do this, they do the next. So this is not abnormal. So what is the point of telling us 11 people died over the weekend? What is the point? What is their point? They
Yeah.
had to have a point.
And Dr. Maraj, what we could ask also is, out of those 11 persons that died, right? How many of those deaths were gun related or gun violence was involved? You know, is it like person got chopped or or shot,
Or
right?
how many
Because the
was
level of gun violence now is just prevalent all over. And whenever you hear somebody died or murdered, it relates to some kind of gunshot wound or drive-by shooting or something like that. So the amount of illegal guns floating around in the country there is a big problem, and that was a result of the porous borders over the last 10 years, right? And still we have guns flowing in, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay,
Because
the
look,
one
just like the drugs, right?
right.
$271 million of drugs just floating in a little pirogue there, and nobody arrested. Something is very strange there, right? So it shows that regardless of the US presence, we still have these drug narco traffickers still trying to infiltrate, right? You know, um, but we also have to break down the crime. We have to take that raw data and scrub that data and now see, okay, how many were domestic, how many is the gang related, involving firearms, right? And that is the kind of data that we want to see, right, Sumad?
absolutely, and I've been touting this for the longest while, how much it related to drunken driving and so on. So, and then
But you know what kind of data I want to see? I want to see how much patrolling is being done currently. I want to see how many officers are deployed, how many vehicles are deployed. What's the response when a complaint comes in? You know how these kind of things I
response
want to see.
time,
Yeah, I want to
response
see the
time.
response time. That's the kind of data I'm interested in more so right
Because
now. The number
when
of
was the call
patrolling,
made?
how we patrolling, the patrolling routes. Are we patrolling the areas that we expect most of the issues to take place? How heavily are we patrolling it? Response time. What's being done? How we address the issues. That's what I want to hear right now.
And
This
Gary,
is
that is why we need the police cars to be equipped with a GPS, right, and a dash cam. And each police officer involved in a traffic stop has to have a body cam at least, so they can record that interaction with the persons that they're dealing with to
and
see that they're courteous.
all linked up to a head office so that
Right,
I saw
correct,
something
correct.
trust.
that's been circulating on social media for a while there, where police giving a guy a ticket who was parked up and taking out his seatbelt. Right, parked up and taking out his seatbelt, giving him a ticket.
Yeah,
So if they
so this is why
So
we need that the body cam, right? It has to be part of the standard operating procedures for a traffic
yes,
stop, right? So again, also it would reinforce courtesy, professionalism, and respect. Because you have some police officers they talk to you like a pig, you know, right? Versus good evening, sir.
yeah, we
Do you know
I
why I
mean lack
stopped you?
of.
My name is so and so, officer so and so. I'm related to attached to this precinct here. Do you know why I stopped you? Your tail light is broken, or you made you're exceeding speed limit here, and we just clocked you with the with the radar detector there, and we have to issue a ticket. If you want, you could, So again, the body cam will pick up all of this data, and I think it's going to reinforce that courtesy, respect, professionalism across the board. Because
in
you don't want to get a
addition,
police officer cursing you, and that's being recorded. He wouldn't do that.
it will build confidence in the society to assist the police. And people
And
Correct.
during the last administration, I saw some prehistoric radar detectors was issued to the police
yeah,
that looked like it came out from the Stone Age that the most honest Indian had bought for them. So I mean, we definitely have to upgrade the quality of the radar detectors also.
they got
Definitely,
some
definitely.
Acer readers, man. Acer readers that can pick up anything.
Yeah. So
This is
Well,
what, Gary. These things have to be a coordinated approach. It cannot be a piecemeal approach, and you're doing one little bit at a time. And here that listen, the
So,
criminals
so I
are
guess
so
in your discussion, I guess in your what you all are talking about, the question I ask is there is something that is missing and they need to find the missing link. For
there's a lot
example,
of things missing, Doc. Yes. But
for
go ahead.
example, the
Go ahead, Dr. Murad. Go
usually
ahead.
when you read a drive-by shooting, if some gang of men are lighted from a Tilda, whatever Tilda car is, I don't know what kind of car this is, and
This was a
they spray
bicycle.
bullets at
A guy was
whoever,
riding a
whatever corner
bicycle.
it is, killing two and maiming the other, and drum back in the car and drive away. This would happen in Moruga, it will happen in La Romaine, it will happen in Shoguanas, it will happen in Port of Spain, it will happen in Morvan. It means that there is a gang of people who are roaming, who are looking for jobs. I want to hire them. They collect the money, they do the job, collect the money, and continue to look for the next job. So there is a hired gang of people who are doing this for a living. This is the pattern is clear how they're doing it. So why it is that you could get shoot in Moruga and a gang? What gang is there in Moruga or Tableland that you are light from a vehicle? 5 men will come out of a vehicle, spray bullets and whoever's sitting there, whoever done, get the guy who actually. Then you hear afterwards someone had him because of some old grudge or some stupid thing or the other. And then this continues all along. There is a gun for hire. There is a gang or gangs of people who are hired hands to do paid jobs all throughout the country. Let this special branch look in that lead. Let them follow up on these things. You are saying that there has to be answers to some of these. This can't go on like this. You have 11 people get killed. Okay, 5 murders in one day. That is too many. One is too many. And just to get back to Ken. Ken always talk last year he was saying the same thing, looking at the numbers, and I guess he's proud of the job that the government is doing. Glenn, Ken, one is too many. So,
Correct.
if it's
Correct.
600 and now it's 300 and whatever, that 300 is still too many. But I get your point. I know what you're saying. But still, that is 300 or something is still too many. That is the standard we want to set.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah. So then the ladies, the other opposition leader is talking about asking the prime minister they have nothing to talk about really, so they're asking for explanation. You know what the explanation is? To keep her back, to keep them tardy so the country could get out of hand. Because when you occupy me to explain, so I had to sit down and explain to the opposition what I didn't spend 6 hours explaining to you when I could be spending 6 hours trying to run on the criminals. So their point is to tardy, to hold you back, to keep you down, to let the country run astray, because you don't want them. You want you to be as bad as them. And then you see, then you get them put her back in because there was nothing, there was no positive change from them. So they have nothing. But what did they have to explain? What they did? We know what they asked them to explain. You know why? Because they never did anything. So why would we ask the PM to explain? They do nothing. You can explain why they do nothing. That's all you can ask them. But you can't ask like this prime minister doing a lot of things, and then you ask her, why did you do it? Why did you do it? Okay, that means she's doing things. So the why means that she's doing things. They couldn't ask you why, because you did nothing. So what we're going to ask you? All we could ask is, why don't you do something? You're doing nothing. You sit down there doing nothing. That's why the lady get burned in Arima. You all did nothing. You all have this gang running around the place, and you have to put up walls and hide behind walls inside of your own house. So when a fire catch, you can't get out. You can't find the key. So you get so excited you can't even open the iron gates. The prisoner, you're a prisoner in your own home because of criminals, because of that same kind of thing. Criminals you're talking about. This is the broader picture. The reason why we are in jail is because you have these maroon gangs running around invading people's house. So I had to lock up myself inside. And when there's a fire inside, I can't get out because I forget where the key is. I lost the combination, and you get burned up. You and your children and everybody. This is the real problem. This is not. It's not to tell about who catches you. The hired gang. There has to be. They have to have inside information and break into the gangs. that load of guns and thing they got in like I told you, in Santa Cruz. And the other thing the other day found in the swamp, and the other time, there are owners for these things. These people are among yourselves. Might be some of your own police officers. We don't know. Might be some of your ministers. We don't know. You got to know. Unless you want to keep it a secret from us. You got to know. The special branch has to know. The CID has to know. Who are these people? Who own these exhibits? Get them and bring them in. Otherwise, you have them shooting all over in a Raymond Maruga and highlighting from a car, shooting temporary spraying bullet. They have guns. I'm sure these not licensed guns. So they have lots of guns out there. Why don't you find them? Look for them. And here's one more point before I leave this crime thing. The other day we talked about having 10 more vehicles and 60 more, 20 more, and so on, more. If you line up these vehicles 1.5 mile apart, they will spread throughout the country. So if a crime happens, you should be 1.5 miles away. So running to whatever the crime is. Always give you the example in Valsine what happened. A walking distance to half an hour, but you waiting for a vehicle to come. You couldn't get to the robbery. You couldn't get a vehicle. You came 40 minutes later, 45 minutes later. This police thing, it cannot be the same old. You get the commissioner from the same group of people who were tardy. You get a minister also from the same. No. I'm just laying it out. You get the minister come with the same thing. Yeah, but you could learn on the job. All of you have to learn. The commissioner has to learn, and the minister has to learn. Because you all don't know enough. You all have to learn a little more. Because things are happening each day. Things are changing. You have to change with the times. You have to get ahead of what is happening. You have to be ahead of the criminal. To be sure, you have to be ahead of them. Because if you're catching up behind them, you'll be ever walking a pen and paper and book and writing down, taking statement what is happening. You only after the fact. You're not preventing crime. You're only responding to crime. What kind of police is this? So it all started because we're going to be grumbling the next year, Christmas, you'll come again, you look back again and see there's 300 more murders, or hopefully none, but there'll be some 100 again, and we say, well, we did a little better than last year. Let me keep on going. That is, 1 is too many. 2 is plenty. It should be 0. Look at the country. I read statistics last week, the country, the zone of war. I didn't tell you what happened in developed countries. Like Canada have 3 to 10,000. India is about the same amount, 2, 3. They have millions of people. How many murders they have for 10,000?
Doc, check your mic. Check your mic. Your mic is moving around for some reason.
Oh, I don't know if I have I hope I don't have the phone on. I don't think so. No. Oh yeah, I must have been waving too much. Or somebody in your end, maybe. Yeah. So that's what the crime. I understand. It is a big thing. It is a big deal because you know why? Some of you said it the last time, but foreign investors don't want to come in a situation where crime is so high. They look at the data. They see Trinidad is number 3 in the world in terms of murder rate and crime up and violent crime. They're about number something again or high up also. So this is not a place I want to put my money in. I could put my money in, but the return I may not get it. I would want a whole 10% more than I will get from, say, Barbados, or get from even Barbados, or get from Mauritius. Mauritius is 3 to 10,000, 3 to 10,000, or 2, I think. Some of the developed countries, I think America is about 11 to 10,000. So Trinidad is way, way out in this crime thing, and it's a concern. Because in the end, you have to live, eat, drink, grow your business, grow your children, grow your family, get better because you want to live in a safe place. You want to live in a good place. You want people to come to your country. You want to go to other people's country. We are a high crime country. We will send you a blacklist you pretty soon. So it is a big thing. It is a big thing more than lives that goes on, but it's even much more than life. When they have businessman in Port of Spain, the young guy there, I think I know who that guy was, but he's on George Street and Prince. The guy have a little business around there. And I think some of these people some of them really want Trinidad to be a better place. And in so doing, they don't favor gangs too much, and they might know something, and they might screw some place, and they become a target. So those people who given information to the police, that's another thing. Do you have protection? Protection for people who are in your informant? They should. We don't want, they won't tell you, but we know they should. The witness protection and all those kinds of big things, because people don't want to come forward to give evidence because what happens after? And these things is all over the place. I mean, the criminals are infiltrated everywhere. So it's a tough situation, but you have, that's what I'm saying last year when we met. This is the last chance for Trinidad to get it hit and running. It is their last chance. They have no more hope. They have tried everything. They break up have from 10. This has 17 and 18 parties, and then they have three strong parties fighting each other. Well, you know what happened with it when three fight them each other, back to the PNM again, and that has been a reason. That has been a rationale. The PNM outlived its usefulness, so we said this many times, and I wish a new party will come up, even that they will give us some good opposition, and they will really help us to be better, because a good opposition will make a good government. But that kind of opposition, they're bad in government and they're worse in opposition. Because I tell you, they were good in opposition. It looked like they're worse in opposition because they're not doing any. They're not asking for explanation. You want to hold back the government? Don't hold them back. Don't worry these people. These people want to hold you back to make you look bad. Asking for explanation, everything. Why do so? Why? We say that whole talk, that rum shop talk. We have a business to run. We don't have rum shop talk. We sell rum, but we don't. We have business with the business is rum. If you're a rum seller, you don't drink rum. No, you don't. How much businessman drinking in the old rum shop? Getting drunk every day? They don't. So the Trinidad government mustn't get carried away with this opposition, because plenty talk and no action. That's how they are. They talk a whole lot and get nothing done. Old talk. Remember the old thing about old talk? Old talk beat hard work all the time for them. For us, we have to do lots of work. Do some old talk with the work, because the old talk will make you win too. We talked about this before. So if you all want to hear more, I have some other things I want to raise. Could continue? You want me to continue? Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Raj.
Oh.
The
let me go back to this.
The
Let me
mic
go
is
to
yours,
this.
the camera is yours, the stage is yours. Go ahead.
So let me take you, and some of you could take notes as I go along, because I want to tell you what is. I think you sent something today, Gary, and I think you sent it from. It looks as somebody wrote something about the economic situation in the country, that we are held with the air of uncertainty in this era of war between two powers, and we are caught in the middle. Therefore, financially, we are down. And we will be down as long as this uncertain degree of uncertainty, a zone of uncertainty. I think that's a better way to say it. So yes, it's a zone of uncertainty, and therefore your planning will have to go on hold. Because I was telling you the last day, how this will play out, we don't know, but it will not be the same as it was in December last year. So this is going to play out differently. I read what Gary sent earlier today. And I think he had mentioned Ken Ali name in it somewhere along the line. That
Yes.
I don't know who wrote that, though. It looks like it's Ken Ali. He was talking about what the central bank was saying about the economy. So the central bank is saying these things, that we are not in a good place because of the so-called zone of war that we are in the midst of. One of the things with this is that since we are not a character in the game, we are going to suffer greater than if we were a character in the game. Meaning that we are not America and we are not Venezuela. Therefore, we are splinters. We are collateral. They will benefit from these actual fights because they will have to beef up the economy. That means more spending, more money to run, more everything, and the unemployment will need people to work in Venezuela if they go to war, that is. Same to the United States. I told you about that. They have all the ships in the ocean. They have things over there where there are lots of money being spent. If they go to war, whatever country, whatever, if they go to war, they will need ammunition. They will need people to work. So the point I'm making, you would expect that GDP to rise. Trinidad GDP would not rise. You would fall because nobody would trade in your business because that's a zone of war. Nobody will come down there. No tourists wouldn't come. You wouldn't have any kind of any business taking place. You could have may not be able to. Your tankers may not be able to leave. The sea, wherever they drill outside the ocean and Mayaro and in northeast on northeast here, they're drilling in north and Mayaro and Guayagari on that side. So you would not be able to transport your crude oil because there's a war, there's bombs will be falling all over the place. For about how long that will go on for, we don't know. But if I'm saying it, so you will be collateral damage, and let them say that. But and if the central bank want to tell us a little more, let them quantify what would be the losses that we would undergo if, and they have said they have planning models that could do this. If you ask so many people will tell you they have planning models. They could tell you if this happened, this is what going to this kind of stress test that could go on. The central bank have research, big research department. They could do these kinds of things. Don't only go there and talk about this. Well, put numbers. I put numbers there. That is something of the fallout of the Trump tariff to Trinidad and Tobago. And I showed how they go shift from one country to the next. Or we'll be taking less from America and more from China and one or two of the European countries. Do this, the central bank will do the same damn thing. Don't wait for things because once you wait for when it was, if there's a war, when the war starts, you will not be able to do any kind of studies that time. The data would not be coming by. You must be able to predict right now and tell us what will be the fallout, what will the GDP if there's a war between Venezuela and the United States, what will be the fall, what will be the actual projected numbers, how much would we lose or would we gain or what will happen? They just say that we have the okay, that rum shop talk. These are professional big people in Trinidad. Central bank has been there for a long time. They must be able to prediction. I don't know if I'm Ven might be able to tap into what I'm saying, but they must be able to quantify what is the likely scenario going forward. Don't only guess your way around until the foreign exchange will be more scarce and the foreign exchange will even rise. You can't float the foreign exchange because it will be 100 to 1. You let them come out and let them do the studies. They have to do the studies. They have people, they have University of West Indies. What are they doing in their spare time? When you don't teach, what do? You go and research. So this is not going to, this is serious business, and by trying to know what the fallout is beforehand, so you can prepare for it. Don't come and tell us writing some paper or something. Come out with a real announcement in prime time, telling us the central bank position is so and so. This is where we are seeing things. If you ask the IMF, the World Bank, they might be able to come up with something. But you should, because you're on the ground, you should be before the World Bank come up and you wait for the World Bank. That will be next year or later, maybe next two quarters. Next quarter, maybe. What is the effect? What is the fallout for countries like Trinidad if there is a war between Venezuela and the United States? So there is we will be right now. Our fishermen are not going out, so that tells you how the GDP is going to fall right now. If we're not fishing, there's a certain amount of fish that is not coming in. That will affect your GDP. Don't talk about your food bill. So if you're not selling any oil or gas, you depend. Okay, your model was dependent upon the dragon can dance, the dragon dance, whatever dance that is. So that is not coming through. You don't know, because as soon as the say no, I deal over. It's over because you're telling you. So because you tell me I can get the profit must go to charity. So what am I getting? You giving? I have nothing to gain. So why would I sign this agreement? Forget it. It doesn't make any sense anyway. So there's a little bit of money. They can't depend on the Trinidad gas money to help them. How much that help wouldn't be any great anyway. They have very little to lose. Trinidad have more to lose in that deal per capita. So I don't know I don't have the answer to it really, but we know it is the best we can wish for is that thing. I think Ken was saying that sometime before. The better we wish that this thing just pass away and done. Every president has to go. The Venezuela president has to go. or whatever it is, I would settle it peacefully and quietly and simmer down and go back to like things used to be. Hopefully, we would not have the problem with the gangs and the drugs that are coming in there, because there are drugs coming from abroad into Trinidad. There's no joke about it. That's not a lie. That's not gimmickry. That is reality. Drugs are coming. Trinidad is a trap. There's a drug war in Trinidad related to the national drug war. All the fighting for turf, the drug is part of it. The whole thing, guy who have all these guns and is because they're in some kind of gang related, war related, drug related. How would they find it in the swamp? If it wasn't in drugs, why the drug land in the swamp? If you Trinidad was not dealing in drugs, or somebody involved outside was not dealing in drugs, why land up in, somebody brought it there? Somebody sent it there. So,
well, some people are subsidizing their income, Dr. Maraj, and we have. It is known that we have a how to say a heavy. We have some heavy activities for many years with drug activities. Didn't happen overnight. I mean, this thing started way back when you was a policeman. I mean, we heard so many stories, and the thing continued because our security forces, who were supposed to nip it in the butt, was participating in it for their own benefit and not taking about their job and the country and how does it affect. I mean, if somebody could sell a chemical that will destroy a person's life completely because they want to get rich, and that tells you a lot about that person. They should not have a job in the interest of protect and serve in our country. You have to make a decision. Either you're a police or a criminal. They have to come to that conclusion. You can't be both.
But Gary, coming back to this quantity of drugs that was confiscated, $271 million. This is not a little man running a parlor here. This is big people involved in this. Look at, I mean, that's $271 million of drugs. This is not an operation undertaken by a little man running a grocery store, right? So you have to read between the lines there. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and there's a lot of big people, a lot of big places that's facilitating this, right? Not a little man in a little parlor bringing in $271 million of drugs. He don't have that capacity, that financial capacity to undertake such a large operation, right? So yeah. So the question is, how are we going to approach this, right? I mean, the drugs just float in there, and nobody arrested, or do they? Or was it
I don't know if I told you guys a little while back. I got a call about 4 o'clock in the morning. A guy found himself in a situation where he was on a boat with drugs in it. Apparently, the police showed up and seized the drugs. He seemed to be the only one that they can find because all the other guys disappear from the boat, and the owners of the drugs want to kill he. And the police didn't arrest him. The people want to kill him for the drugs. The police has the drugs. He can't give back the drugs because the police have the drugs. But the thing about it is, I mean, these kind of things happening.
you lost. Hello?
Gary, hello?
You dropped out?
Yeah.
You dropped
Or the mic.
signal. Yeah.
They was talking about somebody on a boat with drugs, and the culprits, they got away, and just innocent guy with the drug. I was surprised they didn't arrest him. I don't know how they let him go. There must have been a good reason. He must have been a good reason why he didn't. Must have been the informant. I don't know.
That's my next point. He probably is the informant.
No, that's possible.
But
generally in these operations, these things are layered, so you really never catch the big guy.
big man always getting away.
Yeah, it's
So
later,
some
you
people
know.
mysteriously hitching a ride on the drug boat. Oh, and my son was just hitching a ride, he wasn't doing anything wrong. Really? And we
Oh,
that
gee.
stupid, right?
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
just happened
yeah.
to take a ride on that boat coming back to Trinidad. So where the hell did he go to Venezuela in the first place?
Fishing, man, fishing. He went fishing, Gary. Go on.
He
Yeah.
wasn't arrested. I just said he wasn't arrested, Gary. He was arrested, isn't
Yeah,
it?
he was not arrested, but he was frightened because there was a hit out on him. Now they want to kill him for the drugs. The police holding the drugs, and he's seeking help, and he don't know what to do.
And his parents are saying, oh, he's a big boy. He just hitching a ride to come home, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. The police didn't arrest. They didn't arrest him. That made they believe the story.
Well,
Well,
fortunate for him, they didn't arrest him.
Yeah.
My advice to him was run. Because
It's possible.
you can't go on complain that the police didn't arrest you and somebody wanted to kill you. Is to run.
So that's the case I told you about the other day. So the police would set up a decoy that this guy would set up, would tell him, meet me so and so, I'll go give it to you, get the drug and give it to you. So the police must set him up with the drug, so the guys will come and collect the drug, and he will come and get those guys and possibly free the informant. Because that's how you deal it. If this is a guy out there and he tell him, yes, I'm going to get the drug for you, and police arrange with him to get the drug to them. They walk with a bag of drug over how much it is, and that's how to set the trap. And when they come for it, picks them up. I don't know.
According to what I hear, is a boatload of drugs.
Well, you bring the whole boatload because you're getting all of them. So take the whole boatload back to them and say, this is the drug, how you want it, where you want it, meet me so and so. That's how police do sting operation. I don't know what story that is.
Well, yeah,
That's
but
how
that
you
was
do
kind
sting
of the same. But
operation.
he was seeking help because he didn't know what to do and where to run.
Yeah,
I said,
I know
run.
you're right, but you had to run. Yeah, now that he outside, you had to run. But if I was the police that they use him.
Well, he had to thank God he wasn't arrested, but I think the police was expecting he would be dealt
No,
with
what I'm saying, he's the
without they
smart
having
one.
to deal with him.
The police is the foolish Shabana ball to let him get away without getting the other criminals on him. I would have tried to milk him till I get the other fellas on him. I'd have give them
Well,
give him back the
apparently
whole
they just
box.
took the drugs and gone with it.
No,
And
that's not police work. That's not the way to do it.
yeah, but
They're supposed to
but
push
Doc,
that drug back into the
think
open.
about it.
That was the same
They
thing.
have some reason why they took the drugs, right?
No, you see them. They like to take the drug and run away with it. That's what they do in the swamp. That's what they do with the guns in Santa Cruz. They like to run away with the drugs. They like to take it and hide away from the criminal because they want the criminal to bring more. I don't know what nonsense this is. You have to leave the exhibit and wait for the owner to come by. Set a trap for the owner. I don't know what we collecting the drug. We ain't gonna do with it. Take it and burn it here unless you're going to sell it for yourself, which they can't do because it's too publicized. Unless the commissioner sells the drug, which I don't think so.
What make you think that they can't take that drug and sell it somewhere? They might be done have a buyer. They might be done have a potential buyer.
Yeah, if nobody did, but all of people saw them, so they couldn't do it again. So that is a possibility. Usually they take the drug and they sell half, and they half of the exhibit. Say if you get a 1,000 pounds, you say you put 500 as exhibit, the next 5 years you fix it.
You must see a man getting a lock up for a little piece of weed. I think that these big drugs thing here, they deal with it differently.
Yeah, you don't catch them. That is why the fellas with the 21 guns are how much buried down and they never get the owner of the house. That has an owner. That didn't get there by itself. Set up. You should be still there waiting. That was 2-3 years ago. You should be still there waiting in Santa Cruz, set up with drones or whatever is set up a trap, waiting for the owner to come. If you don't come, leave it there. What are you going to do with it? Leave it there, but you have to watch it. You don't want to get out into the street. Leave it under the ground. Nobody could take it from there. But you're watching all the time to see who's going to come for it. And that's 24/7. Monitoring. They just do that. When somebody, I told you about the savannah, I lie in the savannah all night trying to catch a criminal.
you're not scared, Doc, because of mosquitoes and things there?
Mosquito by them. Okay, I
You
see.
know, that's a complaint the commissioner, that's the excuse the commissioner is telling people in the press that, mosquitoes in the swamp and so on. So that
Oh Lord. And I thought I was in the comic strip. You read that. That was a real commissioner saying that. What
Yeah.
the hell is that? I thought it was a comic strip you're talking about. Oh shit.
And they found the constable in the night. He was patrolling, who knows was he patrolling for? You know? So it's a real comic situation, but with all fairness, I think this has a number of ripple effects, negative ripple effects, because the owner of the drug, we don't know who they are. The storage of the drugs, we don't know who they are. And over time, most of this goes missing. And thirdly, if the person is charged or whoever is being charged, there is no exhibit to bring. So right away, everything falls down. The whole process is screwed. So
You see that? You see all this kind of thing we're asking, these kind of questions that we're asking. This is not top secret. They have to explain to the public because we need to know. And because it's we who are the victims. You see, why do we know? Because we are the victims. And that is why we need to know. We are the stakeholders. We are the biggest stakeholder. So therefore, you need to report to us because we hired you guys to work for us. And we pay you to work. And therefore, you have to report to us. And through our representative, they must also do reporting to us. If the police can't do it, then the representative will have to do it.
So
before I don't talk tonight, let me just say one last thing, and I'll say that I was going to start with that, but I want to end with this one. So we have a young lady up here with my last name like mine, except she don't carry the Maharaj anymore, but her name is Nicki Minaj. So Miss Nicki Minaj is now has to be deported back to Trinidad because she is now a turncoat. She jumped on the bandwagon from the liberals to the conservative, the alt-right conservative. So she's now, but let me tell you something. The reason why I'm raising this is not that gay, that word, that's for those guys to talk about. But the reason why I'm raising this is because we as Indo-Trinidadians, and she's an Indo-Trinidadian. Her mother is a respectable person as well. Her mother is a choir singer. No, she was involved at one time in business, so they kind of business oriented. Also, her father was Robert Maharaj from St. James, but he dropped the MAR. He says MAR rather than MAH. So Miss Nicki Minaj, there's a movement to deport her back to Trinidad. I'm raising it because Trinidad again is in the news. Just earlier today, and I think started from yesterday, but earlier today again, there was in the news that she must be deported back to Trinidad, her hometown. She came here illegally. I know she used to live in that avenue right not far from here. And she went to school, the high school, her school of music school was right down the road by Woodhaven Boulevard, not far from here either. But then, of course, she's living in California now. When she became a very big girl, she went down to California. Her mother is down here. I think she mother is there with her as well. So that entrepreneurial spirit of Indo people went with her because I could see her records being sold by the millions because those people wouldn't. When you see a star, one of those Hollywood people turn coat from liberals to conservative, or they look at they clap like hell. They talk about that. Oh, they love that because that normally doesn't happen. Usually those stars and those Clooney and all them they stick there. And this boy who died recently, nice fellow, from All in the Family, he's the nice boy. They're Democrat. They're tough. Big Democrat. So to see her swinging away from this to because she even made a mistake the other day. Yes, last night I think it was in an interview, and she called J.D. Vance an assassin because she saw accustomed criticizing the Democrat people. She made that mistake, but anyway, they hold on to that because she appearing on the show and thing everywhere, and she talking good about the president and talking about good about the whole party and bad talking the Newsom scumbag or whatever they calling him. So I'm making this point because she's in the last days of the capital. She's going to rake a set of money now, new money in, because the conservative were not buying her record and buying it now. Now that she turned coat, she's have a new market. So she already exploited the liberal market. Now she's going to the conservative market, which I would say that's the way to do business. I don't get into the other thing, but I like people who smart like that. She's a Trinidadian, Indo-Trinidadian again, even better. Trinidad in general, even better. So that's my little take on that. So you could follow it up what's going on, but this is interesting. And your name is again.
There's some other things happening, Doc. We have people who are showing up for their renewal of their green card, and they're being contained by ICE, right? In fact, I heard a story today about someone been in this country about 35 years. They have children and grandchildren here, and they went to renew. They didn't take up the citizenship, in this country. They maintained their green card, and ICE detained them, and so there's this administration. While we supporting the administration effort in Trinidad and the Caribbean, this administration is doing things here that are very concerning to us. So it's how to say a bittersweet situation here. Maybe I may put that in that context. There's two sides to the coin in this administration.
Oh, we said so. When we're talking in America, we talk differently. When we're talking in Germany, because we had dual citizenship. So we talk Trinidad in the behalf of Trinidad. We talk on behalf of America or Trinidadian in America. America doing nonsense. We don't go along, of course.
So I mean, yes. So while we support the administration effort to assist us in Trinidad with our national security, and I mean, obviously our economic situation, everything, there's some things being done here that are very concerning to us, and I mean, sending a person back to the country is one thing, but the kind of way they are arresting and treating people in a very brutal manner. I mean, far as I'm concerned, I always say the United States needs to maintain the highest integrity in how they conduct themselves with diplomatic situations, because a lot of people looked up to this country for many years. This country built a reputation around the world where it's respected and trusted, and that trust is being severely damaged. And some people can't seem to see that at this point. But that trust that this country worked so hard to build for many years and caused many of us to come here because we trust and feel safe and we believe in this country, it's being totally squashed. So we have to keep our eyes open. And, gentlemen, I always like to encourage our people to focus on helping to make TNT a better place wherever you are, because it's getting ugly out there. You may want to run back to your country, and whether or not if you have any love for TNT, we encourage you to join us here, form your own group if you want to, but do something to help upgrade the quality of life in TNT. So that's what we hear about.
Right. And your daughter said it best. She's a Trinidadian born in America.
Yeah. We never told her that. That she was a Trinidadian. We came up with a play date. She's about 6 years old, and she's walking in, to the backyard, and she's telling the friend parents is from Spain and born here, in New Jersey. She say, I'm a Trinidadian, but I was born in America. And we never forgot that little statement. This young child, today, I mean, she's a grown woman, but the thing about it is, she knew her place. She knew who she was.
I think I saw her a couple of times. She's smarter than you.
That one, I think that one. I think you met. She's the eldest. What was the younger one I'm referring to?
Oh, no. Okay. She was really
Oh
smart.
yeah, you must have seen them when we went to Maracas. Yeah, the younger one there was with us.
She must have been smarter than you too. The next one. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm yeah. So I'm an American born in Trinidad.
She's
The other way.
yeah, and she's a Trinidadian born in America.
Right.
But
Yeah, no,
honestly, I mean, I like to reiterate this. Most of us are out here because TNT can't seem to manage itself in a way that we would make it safe for us. And we want to work with TNT to help make it a better place for all of us. I mean, that's why we waste all this time and effort.
Yeah.
Some people may take that for granted or may think we never have nothing better to do. But our contribution to TNT, we take it seriously. We are not here jockeying for a position or a contract or something like that. We are here. First priority is to make TNT safe for all our people, to upgrade the quality of life. Whatever we learned out here, we want to contribute it. A lot of people come out here and they go back and show off about what they achieve and not making any contribution back to the country. We, on the other hand, here wants to make that contribution, and we take it very seriously. And time again, we do it over and over again. But we want to make sure this time around, all of us wants the same thing, that this government is able to hold government for a longer period of time so that we can really achieve. This cannot be a one-term government. We cannot make this amount of sacrifice that this government becomes a one-term government. We cannot allow those who we support to squander our efforts and take it for granted,
And don't forget what I said the last time we met also, that we could be saying things like Trinidadian people, but we must be adding something new to it. Like tonight I mentioned the PNM never did anything, so you couldn't ask them any question because they did nothing. Whereas the question in Trinidad, why are you doing it? Why? Because they're doing a lot of things. They can't cope. So why this, why that? So because they want to hold them, they want to keep them back, they want to keep them tardy. So if the tardy get less done, and therefore they stand a better chance. If the UNC do a lot of stuff, they would not get a chance to come back the next 5 years. So why this and why that? You want to keep them back and no keep them back, lady. I would tell them go and talk to somebody else. I'm busy right now. I have a government to run. I have things to do. I have a war on hand. I already have a zone of war, and I'm trying to make a zone of peace. I'm too busy now. I'm at war. So don't talk to me. We're not at war. When we stop fighting, we will talk again. I'll leave them in the corner because they will only make noise all over. And some of you say that they're well supported by some of the press people and so on. And I think some of you said it before also. Don't blame the writers who write those things because they're being paid by the piper. Those who pay the piper call the tune. These people are writing on behalf of the paper, and the paper would give them the lean. The auditors are telling them what direction they should take this into. And therefore, while they're doing stuff, is really the paper behind, because behind these papers are those monuments, those great Trinidadian financiers who support whichever party they're supporting, and therefore the party had to toe the line with them. Many of them own papers, they own businesses, they own this, they own that, and they own, and we know half of them, we know most of them who they are. So therefore, the people who are writing on these papers and asking questions, because we don't impress the editor, we don't impress the bosses, and the bosses are the financiers of some of these parties. That's how it works anyway. So that's how it is.
If they're getting the biggest contract from the government, they will do anything to derail you because they're benefiting from that party.
Of course.
Right? They're seeking their interests.
Yeah, that was the question I had for Ken Ali whenever I get him on. That was something I want to ask him.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Ken Ali back here. He's so busy, but I'm going to try to get him back. I am still trying. In fact, I sent him the link today, but he wasn't available. So I will keep sending the link.
But you see tonight the kind of direction I was taking with what the central bank should be talking about, what they should be doing. Ken Ali would have liked to hear that, because really what he was writing, he was kind of criticizing them, but not the way I'm doing it. The way I'm saying, they had to do some more work. They got to do some homework. They just can't talk about this. Let them quantify and let them come with some kind of projection so we could know we're working. Last week, Mr. Suman talked about could give us the statistics, and I came out with the statistics in terms of the murder rate around the world. So in the same way, give us the statistics. I think someone would recognize what I'm saying off the bat. Give us the
But
number.
Doc,
The
Doc,
numbers.
listen.
Yes.
The PNM is to say, crime happening everywhere. I don't care what happening everywhere. I care
Yes.
about what we do in Trinidad to
No,
prevent.
that's the cop out. That's the cop out. That's a cop out. Yeah. They
I
always
don't
say
want to
so.
hear. I don't want to hear what happening everywhere. I want to know what we going in Trinidad to do and how we apply ourselves and what resources and how effective we are. We can stop this.
Right. Did you notice that you see the budget when the little boy from Diego Martin Central or somewhere there, when he came out with the budget, 95 minutes he spent talking about the IMF and talking about all over the world. And then now we are come to Trinidad when everybody sleep away and maybe halfway wake up. Then he go talk about Trinidad this and Trinidad that. Then after he talk about every country about the world, then he come to CARICOM, then he come to Tobago, then he come to Trinidad, and then he come to the budget. Oh shit!
All kind of song and dance.
Yeah. That's the same lady who come and ask, explain. He talk
No,
about one whole
she didn't have no
like
voice then.
the
She
last
didn't have
one
no
at 90
voice
something.
then.
3 hours and a half, you talking for people at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Friday afternoon. Everybody sleep away. People wake up. Your own people were sleeping on him. Prime Minister, whoever she was, whoever the Prime Minister was, that the young boy and the old man, both of them slept away. They sleep away and he talking anyway. Everybody sleep away. Then wake up when they reach the point. Okay, alcohol went up. Now I wake up. We now reach the alcohol part. I thought you passed that part already. I thought you're not having that. They call the first thing they call about how they raise alcohol here. They worry about the UNC raising alcohol and making a big deal out of it. And one of them swing it around and say, your own supporters will be most annoyed with you because they raise alcohol. What about why you raising it? Let them raise it. I represented them. You want to raise alcohol for my supporters. Why don't you raise it for your own?
Yeah. Then we gonna give a discount rate to our supporters. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go.
these guys have no morality. That they're so damn blatantly bold-faced that they have no right to ask no question. They have no moral authority to ask any question because they can't explain what them did. They refuse to explain. They're trying to explain, and they were caught. They were caught when this case went all the way to the Supreme, to the what they call it, the Privy Council. The judges asked, why isn't the Minister of Finance being, addressed on this situation? When they try to penalize the what they call it, the Governor General for the Auditor General. I'm sorry, Auditor General for the country. Under the PNM. No, so we have a lot. We have a lot of investigative ground to cover. We have a lot of things this year. Hopefully, we get all these explanation coming forward as to what happened with our money, and to see some people face the penalty for what they did. We cannot allow them to escape. We have the Paria Diver situation has to be seriously dealt with. We have the Auditor General and the Procurement Auditor was interfered with by this previous government. We have, a lot of unexplained things. We have the COVID situation, how our citizens was locked out of the country. So it's a lot we have to reiterate, because the PNM people is out there trying to spin the simplest thing against our party and our prime minister. So we here have to remain very vigilant. And like I say, airtime is available to you guys in minutes. You have something in your mind, you want to say something. We don't have to wait till 8 o'clock in the evening. You want to make a press conference, you want to say something, Dr. Maharaj, I give you the airtime and you say what you have to say.
I think you all follow what is happening with this Nutrien company in Point Lisas.
Look at your screen. Look at your screen. Oh, once again.
Yeah, the Nutrien closes the TT plant, right? That's the one. Yeah.
Look at the dates. Look at the dates, right?
Oh, August. Oh shit.
So,
So why it coming up so much these days? Well, I know why, but I mean, they have
yeah.
problem for quite a while.
So we're going to deal with this. Let's get. I want to try to get Vade, and maybe I don't know. It's very difficult to get Ken Ali. I'm going to try again with him. We want them guys to hear, so you guys could carry on that discussion since you're in that financial part of things.
Yeah, but it seems as though they owing Nutrien is owing National Gas Company some money, and the National Gas Company saying we're not giving you any more, selling anything more to you to really honor your past obligations, which is the IOUs, which is the liabilities. So but this has been festering for, and this is why you have incompetent people, maybe on both sides, or maybe on one side or both sides in the past.
But
Because
Doc,
this began, look at
remember we
the
have
day.
seen Petrotrain collapse because we appointed people based on party race and whatever, right?
Yeah, but this is two serious companies. They were profit making. They were
Most of our economic situation collapsed because we appointed people, friends, family, and party and race, not on qualification and ability to perform. Right? We have a habit of not appointing people
yeah,
according.
Gary. I know, but I know, but I want to leave that
But this
behind.
is what I'm saying to you,
I
Doc. But
can't
hold
go
on a
there.
second. The PNM
Yeah,
don't want to admit the fact that why Petroleum collapsed because of how they manage things. That is the whole point I'm making here.
yeah, I know, but we can't do nothing. We can't do them nothing. So what we have to do going forward, because you see, because first of all, is a foreign exchange we're losing when Nutrien closes. Secondly, there's some, I think the same 400 or 500 employees will go home. And the problem is that the company is a demand. The goods that is selling is in demand. So why they can't continue? Because they have some things they get from NGC, and NGC until you don't pay us the millions that you owe us, we're not giving you any more credit. So NGC is holding them back. NGC is old, but the government could intervene. But that is sung very badly. Because if the government intervene and tell the NGC, never mind, still doing it, the government will be not is not in a fiduciary position to do that. It's only the board of directors, the people in there, and even they do it. The people, these companies are owned by Trinidad and Tobago, national companies.
Maybe Sumar might want to
So
jump in there with you and add something to what you're saying.
I think American solar is up to nutrients, but I understand they own and you see a lot
Sumar,
of.
you're coming in a little bit faded, but go to your
Yeah,
mic.
yeah, I've not been following it up too much because all I know is that they have, owing and you see a lot for supply of gas from previous terms.
mhm.
And this problem has been identified about 2 years ago. And
Right.
the previous regime for NGC kept on selling them gas or kept on giving credit for gas, that is,
Yeah.
till they rack up a sizable amount now. So the
Yeah.
question is, what do you do? Do you still keep them on or do you just cut cords?
Yeah.
But
So,
the
That's what.
auditing has to be done with the profit and loss there. A lot of auditing has to be done.
Yeah, I know,
yeah,
but Gary, even though you say that is the PNM government is solely responsible, that would not help the situation. You have to still decide whether to float back the company. It's two options you have. Is either
Yeah,
NGC
but Doc,
continue
you
to
have
give
to
them.
call them out because
Yeah, but I know
I know we
that's
have to
behind the
fix it.
bridge.
Yes, we're responsible for
Yeah,
fixing,
that's
but we
behind
have
the
to bring
bridge.
that up too.
Yeah, we know the problem, but we're talking about going forward. The government is in a situation. What would they do? The NGC, they could order NGC to continue giving them the credit, but the NGC will say you're responsible. The government is responsible for now because the 28 million that Nutrien failed to pay is their fault. So you don't want to fold up NGC, Nutrien, because that's an important company. They have good prospect. So they have bills that they owed and they didn't pay. Somewhere along the line they messed up, and we know where that belongs. But we can't go back there. We could go back there, but for a different purpose, not for the purpose of doing business. We want to do business in the future. I told you the other day, business is never done in the past. It's always done in the present and the future. In fact, in the future, hardly much in the present. You lay the groundwork in the present for the future. So they have the government have I see the minister is talking about it. He has to make a decision. It's either they're going to order NGC to continue to let the government give them what they want, which is the energy and whatever thing they use again, or you could ask, or the government could lend them some money, lend Nutrien the money to pay NGC, and the government hold them to future earnings. So I think that is what the government should be doing. They should be lending them the money and asking them to pay it back over jail, or giving them some kind of some kind of preferred stock, some kind of stock holding. And in fact, the government we have a good portion of Nutrien and how much, what percentage they own. I could check into that, because I see what the problem. I understand what the problem is, and therefore something has to be done to run the company, because it's a profitable company. That is the problem. If it was a failing company, you could let it go. Nobody can win good for an exchange for you. So they have to do something. The government has to rescue something.
Yep.
And I have options. Or you could follow anyone. You could talk to the people and they tell you which options they prefer, and you could go along. But this cannot go down. You can't allow this company to go down.
Well, I mean, I'm sure eventually they're going to find some ways to sort it out,
Sure.
But we have to get the right people in place to keep things under control, where the profit is being carefully monitored and absorbed, and the things are not being ripped off there. I mean, it's the same thing with our oil industry. I'm sure that we had a lot of crude oil left our country through our porous borders without our benefit. So, I mean, natural resources leaving our country, a lot of things happen leaving our country through the porous borders. And so we have to secure the border and make sure we deal with all these things. So border security is highly critical. And, the proper accounting has to be put in place, with the things there, when people stealing our material and selling it for their own gain on the black market and all these things.
So, do any of you guys have any idea what you think will happen going forward? I last year I was saying something, but I mean, anybody think that this will be settled this year? The problem that is happening around our borders, since Gary raised the border again, is there any solution, right or wrong, that will happen?
Well, I mean,
Prediction, maybe?
this is the way I see it, right? The Prime Minister said, and we like to reiterate that some people like to drag it into one. What's happening in Venezuela is between the US and Venezuela. We are securing, our relationship with the US is securing our border. Well, now we are benefiting from some of the actions of the US. And even if the US were to go into some kind of physical action with Venezuela, it wouldn't last long, because that would be swift, short and swift. That wouldn't be like 20 years down in Afghanistan. It may seem so, but I am sure that they're prepared to deal with this thing very swiftly and with precision. So, but what I'm saying also is the fact that we must keep reiterating that what happened with Venezuela and the US, that's between the US and Venezuela. Our Prime Minister is out of that. Some people trying to blame she for the tankers that was confiscated by the US. I don't know how our Prime Minister could become so powerful to have that kind of authority. So they are making all their mischief and propaganda. But we stand firmly with our Prime Minister in her decision making. And far as I see, she's doing everything in the benefit of TNT.
But Trinidad is pulled into it.
Yeah, naturally, given our proximity, given our instruction.
I'm not saying we cannot be affected, but what I'm saying is some people are making it bigger than what it will.
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying, Gary, but my concern would be not the quick swift, as you mentioned. That's a conventional way. But this is not Guatemala or Grenada. Not Guatemala, was it Panama? This is a big country with 28 million people, and with a big army, and drones and all the works of it, and the aftermath might be more dangerous than the actual SWIFT you talk about. because if
Yeah, but Doc, the U.S. capability, right? The U.S. has enough assets there to deal with them heavily. So I'm sure that the time waited, the U.S. is analyzing properly how they're going to handle the situation. They're not going to
yeah, but in a
not
civil
going
war,
there like a
the US
carnival
can't,
fete. You know, this
the
is not
US,
going to be a carnival fete. They're going to handle this thing with precision.
the US can't handle a civil war. They don't know what to do. So they know they settle all over the world. They settled that already all about. They know how to settle a civil war. They could win a war, but they can't settle a civil war. And that is what eventually they might end up.
What's going to happen
That is
there,
why I
Doc,
think
is there going to be
and that
certain
that's why
amount
I
of
think
rising up within the country for those who are against Maduro itself. So that is going to
right.
work in tandem with what the U.S. is trying to achieve. You see what's happening in Iran? There's a rising up. There's an uprising there in Iran. So this is how they work. They're going to get some people on the ground on their side there and who want the U.S. and they're going to sort that out. But Trinidad and Tobago is
Right,
totally out of
and this
that,
thing
even though
usually
people want
end
to
up with a
drag it
lot of
in.
lives, and it never really settle in the future. It always problem. This thing doesn't settle so easily. So that is my problem will be after that, and how much. And you see, one in Trinidad is very far from the urban areas, because if people come over from Trinidad, the Orinoco is a big open wasteland. So Trinidad is kind of shielded away by a huge forest and swamp and mangrove thing. So we may have some coming over, not as much as Colombia and those territories like those, but so we will have some coming across, but 60,000 is a lot to come over. In addition to how much you have here, I think that article talk about how much hundreds, they exaggerate, but they say 100,000 Venezuelan in Trinidad right now. I don't know. That's a little song, a little, I don't know. But I know there will be more people coming over if there is a civil war. And the longer it drags on, the more of them will come over here. So we'll talk about that some other time. We don't know yet. Hopefully, I think they're moving and making a move to talk. They could talk this thing over and they could end peacefully. That could be an option, of course. But the better one of all. Right, Ken? No, or Ken, you want to see a fight, a war instead?
No, definitely. We need to have some kind of diplomacy first, and
Right.
I hope that they could
So,
come to that point and we could settle this thing without any heavy
yeah.
fighting and engagement, physical
Yeah.
engagement, because there's going to be a loss of life on both sides,
Mm.
and we don't want
Yeah.
to get to that point. Again, I think Trinidad, we made the best choice. We have the SOFA agreements in place. We have other agreements in place to facilitate the US and to work and cooperate, right? From a military
Mm.
standpoint, with US Department of Defense and our local uh, um, military. So we're just playing our role based on our agreements. And as Gary said, we're not going to seize anybody's oil tanker and stuff there. We don't have the apparatus and machinery to do that, right? However, um, had we not cooperated with the US, what would have been our state in terms of being blacklisted? Like some of the other islands, they say this and that about the US and so forth. And there's a list of 39 countries that the US has blacklisted. Could we have been wound up on one of that list, right? Where our citizens, the visas are restricted or travel or cancelled altogether, and our local citizens cannot travel to the US, right? So I think if the PNM was still in power or in government, that would have been the case. We would have definitely been blacklisted because the PNM was in bed with the Maduro narco government, right? And they would have done anything in their effort to ensure that there's a gap between the US and Trinidad. So I think we're in a very, very good position here. I think our government the UNC government made the right choice, and we're approaching it in a very cautious way. And I think it's the best way to approach this. We're neutral there, but we will facilitate you, and we want to get this thing resolved because we also, as a country that's located in the shadow of Venezuela, we have been impacted by the influx of more than 100,000 Venezuelans, migrants, over the years, and that has put a strain on our resources, the healthcare system, the social welfare systems, and so forth, right? Even crime. There's a lot of Venezuelans committing crime also. Not all of them are bad, but there's some of them who came, again, the borders were open, very porous, unvetted. Everybody's coming across here without being vetted or being fingerprint or, photographed and so forth. And that was a recipe for disaster. And now we're feeling the effects of that with this high crime and guns and drugs just floating across the borders and stuff here. You know, so I think all of that is going to get resolved. I'm always very optimistic moving forward. I'm very, very
So
optimistic that things are going to
Yeah,
turn.
so
I
here's
say
the
that
deal.
too.
Here's something I would like you to think about. Um, so the Dragon deal is gone, and Trinidad has stood to benefit because we wanted to start up a refinery, and we wanted to do this, and we want to do the next, and we need some more raw natural gas. We don't have enough, and we don't have enough petroleum and all of that. So we sided with America, and by the mere fact we took the side of America, Venezuela said that deal is off. And there might be other deals we could have gone down the road with Venezuela, and that deal is also off. So my suggestion would have been to wheel and deal with the current president, who is in a wheeling and dealing position. He likes to wheel and deal. So you see that tariff that they have, a few of our goods are still being affected by it. I would have tried to get that guy, and he could do it. Because that's chicken peas for them. You could tell them zero tariffs from Trinidad, no tariffs whatsoever. And at least you get back something in return because you gave up the Dragon deal. You couldn't carry it on through, although you had the deal. The following, because you're joining with this government. And so therefore, in other words, we had to give and take. Quid pro quo. I lose something here, you give me back something. Give me something for it. And you could deal with not only tariff, you could deal with other dealing. You could have them to write up the bill for you for the laptop because you so some kind of guns, some ammunition or some maybe you have to talk about the webcam or somebody the government write some embassy write it off for you. On the Rubio could work that deal out for you with the president, because if you tell the president will go along. So what I'm saying is that we need to wheel and deal like them. The Trinidad people must
Yeah.
be in the wheel and deal business because that is the nature of the world. It's a bilateral relationship, give and take. This will be last. I ended up last year by telling you the world to come, every man for himself. Remember that last year what I told you all? That will still continue, every man unto himself, and this will continue for another few years as well. So wheel and deal. Let's see and there are things we could get from the federal government by not charging us, but sending us to us. They have lots of stuff they can give to us, and we don't have to pay them for it. One of them is to get the tariff to zero, and he will do it. Trump will do it. He will, and he's doing it. He dropped in Canada. The other day, dropped something from Canada, some agriculture, something again from Canada. So you could drop off something, something that you could. Because I think most of the natural gas going doesn't have any tax, but any other things, even the grocery item, and we had to pay a little more for the chubby, or the chubby price didn't go by much over here. So some deal wheel, and in other words, this is time to wheel and deal, and let's wheel and deal, because that's the nature of the game, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
PNM
Yeah.
can wheel and deal. Let me tell one. I forgot to tell you this. The PNM, for the past about 25 years, has spent upward about $7 million hauling guys from K Street. Those guys who do lobbying, the whole lobby team. How much did they get from that lobby that they lobbying in Washington? What did they get for that 8 million? I think I said this before. Sorry for repeating myself, but they get nothing for that $8, $9, $10 million. They hold that company, and there are some affiliated with big people in Trinidad as well that has this K Street that do lobbying on behalf of the Trinidad. And then they're not only they do it, a lot of government does the same, but the NR never did. I think some of you can remember saying this in the past. The NR never did it, and the UNC never did it. They never hired no lobbyists in Washington to get anything for them, but the PNM kept on doing it. What do they have to show for it? Zero. Maybe they have a good time when they go to Washington. They lavish dinner and thing they have over there. That's all maybe get out of it. But they get nothing. They have gained nothing from the lobbyists they hired in Washington. But they go to power, they don't have them. When they come back in, they do that again. They believe, because a few of the countries does it. They have few of the countries do it. They have their own lobbyists in Washington. Most of these countries have some kind of lobbyists down there. But in the West Indies, I don't think Guyana, up to recently, Guyana didn't do it until recently yet. I think they did something with the oil, but they never had anybody either. Jamaica has, of course. But Jamaica got a lot of tourists still come down there. And Jamaica, we could talk about this another time. So I think I'll leave you guys to continue. We want to talk about money again, but we'll talk about that some other time. But don't forget tonight what I talk about that they need the government, not the government, no, the institutions in Trinidad, the financial institutions need to give us a better breakdown on what's the best possible scenario going forward. You only tell them, well, we'll be affected. We know we'll be affected, but by how much? What's your best estimate on how much effect it will have on the economy? How much unemployment will rise? What's the projection in GDP? What's the projection of the prices? What will happen with our border towns? What will happen in Cedros? Would that number remain the same? We'll have a 60,000 coming across the border. You already say you have 100,000 already residing here, illegal immigrants or whatever immigrants from refugees from Venezuela. How much more are you expecting if something really happens? Don't wait for it to happen. Prepare for now. I think I got my point. I hope they're hearing us. Right, guys?
Ken, you want to jump in there, Suman?
Yeah, you hit it on the head there. You hit the nail on the head there, and those are some valid points. And I think we need, at some point we need to definitely start to introduce the the discussion with regards to perks and so forth. With the US, the removal of tariffs, bring it down to zero, and see what else we can get. And
deal.
exactly. But I think we have a good rapport with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. I mean to say, Trinidad and Tobago is no stranger to him, right?
Yeah.
So I think down the road, I could see a lot happening there because we took the right path, made the right decision.
Right.
So
we had to get something back. Well, we need something back. We need
Well,
to return our investment.
I think, right, guys, if things were to work out in Venezuela, say they sort out it out there, and the business transactions has to take place, I'm sure we're going to benefit from TNT too.
Big time.
In dealing with trade. I mean, Venezuela, I have seen Venezuela has more oil than the whole Middle East.
And Gary, I mean, anybody correct me if I'm wrong here, but that gas field off the coast of Venezuela there, I believe that we are strategically positioned to bring that gas to shore, right? I don't think they have the infrastructure and the capacity to do that, economically, right? Versus what we have, we are strategically positioned there. So we will definitely benefit big time once that regime has been changed or is no longer there.
And remember, listen, we have Guyana, all businesses is run away like a runaway train right now. So with the Guyanese economy, just imagine the Venezuelan economy and things settle over there and business starting to flow. I mean, we will definitely benefit in that region. So hopefully we can sort this thing out in the smoothest way. But if it comes to it and they have to shoot it out, that's between them. We don't want that because we understand at some point it will affect us. But I think the U.S. understands that. The U.S. is going to handle this thing with precision. I guarantee you that the U.S. military is going to handle any kind of a combative situation there, with precision, because it will take serious consideration to our close proximity with Venezuela. So, I mean, they would protect TNT's interests. I mean, those ships out there not sitting there for no reason at all. You know what I mean? Not sitting there for no reason at all. A hell of a lot of assets. I mean, you talking about submarine and this ship and that ship and aircraft carrier and the more other thing there. You think they put it there for no reason?
I mean, there were 4 U.S. most recent and advanced warship they have.
Yeah, everything is being analyzed there.
It's strategic, I think. And if these things smoothen out, we can be the biggest beneficiary of the three islands, Venezuela, Trinidad, and Guyana. We can be the biggest beneficiary because if we can do the refining of the oil, let me tell you something. In the oil business, the refiners and the byproducts are the people who make the most money, not the oil producing countries. It's the refiners and our marketing and so on. We stand to gain a lot should this thing smoothen out, So,
Right. So you see, that's your point, Simon. That's the point I'm making.
And we
The
have to
central
understand the
bank,
audience. And Steve, there will never be a 20-year war in Trinidad, Venezuela, between Venezuela and the US. This war, whatever battle there is going to take place is going to be handled very swiftly. You watch and see.
right? You guys are in war business. I'm not in this. So here's what I'm asking the central bank or whoever talking this crap that Gary sent today.
yeah.
So they should be able to model for us. If we start by the refinery, this is what we'll be saving. We would not have a foreign exchange problem. We'll be having excess foreign exchange because instead of buying finished gas, we'll have the finished gas right here in Point-à-Pierre. So they should be writing a model for us, telling us what will be our foreign exchange situation with the gas and without the gas. That is what they need to be doing. What the hell are they talking? What are they doing? And they don't expect Ken Ali to do those things. Ken Ali's job is not to that. Ken Ali is to raise issues, like myself, to raise issues. They have to come up with the solution because the natural if that gas comes back on stream, if Point-à-Pierre rise back, the economy will not be the same. It will be different.
Central bank has to make sure the UNC government has to make sure they have UNC people in place to deal with central bank over there. Okay, that is what I want to see. We have to have ample UNC capable people there making the decision at central bank. But when the PNM comes in, they flush everybody out and they put their people and they don't care who vexed.
Okay, so what is the University of West Indies doing? What is the UTT doing? They could do that also. Not only the central bank, but the central bank is the one, they who raised the matter. That the economy would be sluggish, it would be this, it would be that, because while this thing is going on in America, Trinidad suffers and will be suffering badly.
Well, let me tell you something. The PNM party groups is trying every reason to turn the people against their confidence against the prime minister and say that she's not making good decision and she endangering the country. They're trying to destroy the prime minister credibility. That is the whole agenda there. There are people inside working against our prime minister, and we have to stand up and not allow them to do that.
That's the point. The point with central bank is that perception. The whole thing is that we don't have so much of a foreign exchange problem. Our foreign exchange distribution is very skewed, and skewed to a big extent to the 1%, and to the monopolists, and to the people who are not using the foreign exchange to do productive work, to capital generation. For example, PriceSmart. What does PriceSmart do? PriceSmart buys and sells. They buy US, they bring down all their US products and sells it. They get foreign exchange. They are the biggest consumers of foreign exchange in the island, along with the 1%, the drug cartel, the Smith Robertson, the A.S. Bryden, and all these companies who have the drug monopoly. So they get whatever they want, from under the 1% regime from the PNM. So the distribution of the foreign exchange is very, very skewed. And I'm very surprised to hear that our president, governor of the central bank, he doesn't see a problem with that and all this pack of bullshit. That is, how come 4,000 small businesses had to fold up because of a lack of foreign exchange? When you're given I would say buyers and sellers without doing any sort of productive base in the island, they can get unlimited foreign exchange. PriceSmart and Quartz and these people, they are just buying products and selling using foreign exchange. Remember, these are foreign companies. PriceSmart, they're trading in the Wall Street, in the New York Stock Exchange. So they have to account to their shareholders. So they have to repatriate foreign exchange back to the US. So what productive capacity are they generating for TNT? Unlike the little businessmen who had the little garage, the little furniture place, and so on, employing 10, 20 people, their sources of foreign exchange are dried up and diverted. So the problem for the foreign exchange, yes, there's a shortage, but not to the extent at which it happens because of the skewing or the distribution of the foreign exchange to certain people. And it's a pity our our governor, the central bank, does not see it that way. He says there is no evidence, but the evidence is there. Look at the quantitative figures, and you'll see. Just look at the distribution of foreign exchange over the past 5 years or so, and you will see the money is allocated for foreign exchange and not the monies that are generating capital assets in the country. It's a leakage. It's a leakage of foreign exchange. So you see, this is what is happening behind the scenes. And unfortunately, I don't have much faith in our central bank governor in addressing this problem, because he says there is no evidence to show that. Well, then you tell me.
And this is his second strike. This is his second strike with him. So I mean, I don't trust this guy. I don't like this guy. I had problems with him when he became finance minister. I have serious concern about him. And in fact, according to what I learned is he put most PNM people in place. He put the former, the person that he just replaced there as governor, he was supposed to install that person there, according to what I heard. And we have mostly PNM people in place there in central bank who's going to create havoc for our government. And so whether it's central bank or any ministry, we are in government, we are in charge, we need we people there.
Correct. And you know how you know how central bank operates, eh? Dr. Marati, for your information, is a 10-to-1 skewing of race happening in central bank right now. And that has been so since the PNM took over. 10-to-1 is a ratio of, you know who is the one? I will spell it out. I will not spell it out to you, but come to your conclusion. That 10-to-1 skewing of employees in the central bank, if you got the view. So they don't have any bright Indians around in the country who are economists and who are financial experts and so on. That's what they're trying to tell you. You can do a lot better than that, man. With all that, I think we should wrap up, Gary. I see a lot of hope in 2026.
Definitely.
A lot of positive signs, especially on the campaign promises, a lot of things that were said, and they have achieved a lot within this short 8 months, much more. And the only drawback I'm seeing is that that is not reported to the extent I would like to see reported. It should be your achievements and your deliverables should be in people's face 24/7. I think that is lagging a little bit because the communication and PR team is lacking in my estimation. PNM has been very, very good and vocal in their turn. In fact, when these bitches open their standpipe, you will see the press and everybody in. It's on TTT, all the programming, all the television. You see the minister opening a standpipe, But when you see 254 murders less in the country in 1 year time, and everyone was asking, how can this government reduce the crime rate? Because they don't have the plan. Where is the plan? They keep on asking, where is the plan? Well, if there's no plan, how come we ended the year with 250 something plus murders less. So you see, the system is working, but it's not being expounded in the media, and along with all other promises like the laptops for the children, the health, ramping up the health thing, the opening of the Cuba Hospital, the reformulation of the new medication for the CEDAR project, the passing of the home invasion bill, and so there's a lot of things that was done over the past 8 months, but it's not highlighted or given this public, ceremonial aspect of it, as how the PNM is treated. As I say, they open a bus shed, it's an all the media highlighted, a pipe stand, a water pipe, these kind of things. Very low level deliverables. But here's the major ones have been accomplished, and I don't think they have done justice to themselves. The UNC, that is, in getting this information out and be in their face all the time to let them know that, hey, we are working for you. So I am positive going forward. They will make mistakes along the way, yes, like everybody else, but some decisions we may not like. They may put the wrong people in place.
It's not a matter of mistakes, Suman. It's a lot. The mess is worse than we dealt with in 2010. I'm telling you right now. Far as I can see that miles away.
I have said that from day one. All systems are broken and deliberately. The PM deliberately did this over the 10 years, so no one can be held accountable. No one can be held accountable for all this bullshit they have done. So, but I see signs. I'm confident along the way. We look forward for a better 2026. That's the end result of
Definitely,
it.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So let me just leave you all with this as a think, because if I see a narrative coming from the other side, it will be like this: the UNC had promised everybody wins, and only some people winning, a lot of people losing. For example, CPIP. Number two, they they say that they would scrap the BNR, whatever, border revenue,
Yes.
but they replace it with things like the house tax and the house levy and so on. And then to top it all off, you decide to double the fine and the laws so that we have double penalty. And no, you can explain those things. But what I'm saying, what is the narrative from the other side, the man on the street, when this is fed to him in this way? It is fed to him that this government is doing wrong things against their own people. They don't care about us. Look what they do with the fines. Who do you think will pay those fines? They would say it's we, the people, have to pay those fines. And then we could say we should copy them. No, but that's not the narrative. The narrative is look at the pattern from the outside. Stay back, look back, hold from afar and look. So that is what you're judging. And you'll see that this UNC is not delivering as they promised.
But you are right, Doc, and that is why I'm telling you that we had to have that in your face session with the PM or whoever it is in charge, dedicated to informing and be 24/7 hitting this in your face and debunking all this thing from the start. That, for example, okay, the fines. Why should you be worried about the doubling of the fines? Are you intending to break the law? If you're not intending to break the law, you have nothing to worry about. So this is what they have to keep on injecting into the people over this time to make sure that this traction you are talking about does not hold.
Yeah, but also, gentlemen, listen. Beside the fines and all of that stuff, we know that what's been taking place in the country there is a hell of a lot of reckless driving. If you see when somebody has an accident, they lose totally control. Look, the vehicle going straight into the people's yard and kill the child. I mean, there's always people losing control of the vehicle because they are driving at extreme high speed, and that nonsense has to stop.
Yeah.
But we'll take up that another night. We'll close up. You know.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Anyhow, good night, Gary. Good night,
Good night.
Sumat. Dr.
All of
Barrage,
us,
good night.
and enjoy the last holiday weekend.
Take care. Yeah,
And let's get cracking for next week.
definitely.
Right.
Take care. Have a good
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Right.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to send this message to you as we await to bring in the new year. We had a great 2025, and I do believe that 2026, the best is yet to come. I wish you all a very blessed, happy 2026 as we welcome 2026 together. Thank you all very much. Enjoy.
मोटर गाड़ी